Good evening, everyone. Welcome to America's Third Party. I'm David Sponheim, and we are talking about the truth today. Truth Tuesday is underway right now. Welcome. I am the originator of the Defund the Police program, and I want to defend it because a lot of people are giving it a lot of negativity, claiming that if we defund the police, there won't be any police there. Not true. I would only defund the police if the mayor didn't want to go along with sensitivity training. That's the only time I'd cut back on federal funding. Now, mayors like Mayor Lightfoot, she's posing a kind of a problem. She's opening up the possibility of federal agents coming in and New World Order governance. That's not good. We've got a big problem there. I mean, there's no reason why we would have this woman tell us, no, you can't have sensitivity training. She wants a New World Order governance. I say she's a traitor to the country. I say by allowing specially trained federal agents coming into Chicago for whatever reason is more of a New World Order rollout than it is sensitivity training and an end to police brutality. The reason why we have riots in our cities right now, part of it is the economic condition of people, and that's going to get worse. But the real reason is there is no effort by Donald Trump to address police brutality. He's offered no olive branch to the Democrats at all. And that lack of guidance, lack of leadership has led to this big gap, which has now created a huge amount of violence. So much violence that we're seeing people in wheelchairs getting beaten up. Yeah, TMZ covered a story that's absolutely horrific. I'm going to show you parts of it right now. Trump isn't leading. He's letting things fall apart. Let's take a look. Okay, this poor man is, and we want to know the irony of this whole thing. This poor man is fighting against police brutality. And you're seeing nothing but police brutality in the background. They're beating him. They're at one point in the background, you'll see people clubbing people. Yeah, you're going to see people, women are trying to prevent this guy from being beaten up. He's in a wheelchair, mind you, and the police are trying to restrain him and put his arms behind his back. Look at them. They're clubbing these people. Look at it like animals. This is the LAPD, the worst cops. Well, New York PD is no better. The second worst cops in the country. Maybe this is a reason why people are hating on cops. Yeah. So you see, not only is police sensitivity training good for the people, avoiding the death and injury that occurs when cops shoot too fast or for no reason, but also it helps the cops survive because it lowers the anger of the people against the cops. So sensitivity training is designed to help the force, not destroy it or hurt it. Now, if a mayor like Mayor Lightfoot decides that she's not going to do that, we would give her a 6-month period of time to see if brutality declined, and we'd keep people in that city just to check and make sure and monitor her office. They'd be free to come and go and analyze data as well. And the federal government would then keep an eye on it. And if things got out of control, we would bring in the National Guard, not federal agents that look like a bunch of private mercenaries that Trump hired with eBay patches, of federal government worker patches. I mean, what's going on in Portland and now Chicago is insane. It's like Trump is creating an SS force.
I can't talk. What do I do?
Well, Joe, the best thing you can do is probably, stop endorsing. Yeah, stop endorsing the Muslim Brotherhood. There's a reason why Joe Biden is so big on supporting the Muslim Brotherhood, because they get they give a lot of money, the Muslim Brotherhood gives a lot of money to Black Lives Matter, which went right into the pocket of Joe Biden. I'll tell you, Shimchar, if there isn't a third-party candidate in the next 3 months, yeah, Trump could very well win if Biden continues to babble. One thing about Trump is he's pretty smooth, repeating the same moronic message over and over again. Whereas Biden, he's struggling with words now. His galloping dementia really needs to be analyzed. He's in no place fit to run for president, let alone be our president. You know, Jimmy Carter, the guy that kind of talked like this. My fellow Americans, I definitely think that it's very racist to mention anything racist. That guy actually said he would never run in the 70s. It's just too difficult of a job to run in your 70s. He was in his 50s when he was our president, Jimmy Carter, and he didn't do that great of a job. You can imagine what a 78-year-old is going to do. And both Biden and Trump are getting too old, in my opinion. But I think Trump could win, absolutely, if Trump did one thing. If he said he promised everybody he's not going to force vaccinate and force COVID test, Trump could very well win this election. That's all he has to do. But you notice that Trump refuses to do that. He refuses to do that. He refuses to say he's not going to force vaccinate or force COVID test, which means he's open to it. Let me move over to another story real quick, and I'll get back to Joe Biden mumbling about his love for the Muslim Brotherhood. Trump, at the briefing, said the COVID crisis will probably, unfortunately, get worse before it gets better. This is from a guy who didn't even want to wear a mask for a while and now is openly wearing masks. So Donald Trump is a little too stupid to realize what we needed to do early. And I was the one that pointed out that Trump was still letting flights in from Wuhan, even though he said he stopped them. Every night I came on the show and we looked at Flight 24 radar data, and we found all these flights of people coming from China, Taipei, yeah, that's in Taiwan, and South Korea, and daily. I mean, to this day, we're still letting people in from other countries. I'm not kidding. Okay, let's get back to Joe. This is Joe's view on the Sharia life that is being pushed by the Muslims.
Thank you for taking the time for watching today. Look, one of the things I think is important, I wish we taught more in our schools about the Islamic faith. I wish we thank you for taking the time for watching today. Look, one of the things I think is important, I wish we taught more in our schools about the Islamic faith. I wish we thank you for taking the time for watching today. Look, one of the things I think is important, I wish we taught more in our schools about the Islamic faith. I wish we
Well, you know, I don't know, Joe. The thing is, we don't teach world religions in our schools because we're really not teaching religion. We're not pushing religion in our schools, yet you want us to push Sharia law? I mean, so he wants to redraft our pluralistic approach to education where we don't talk about religion, and he wants to now push Sharia law on the American people. Isn't this amazing? I don't think we have a lot in common with the people who are Muslim, except that Americans generally, and there are Muslim Americans, I'm not denying that, but Americans generally don't really want to be told that they have to marry their rapist. They generally don't want to have to see some guy kill his wife because she looked at another man. In America, they call that first-degree homicide. But in Sharia law, it's perfectly okay for a man to kill his wife if she creates jealousy in his mind. I mean, come on. We're not the 9th century, Joe, but we would be with you as president. Unreal. And let's not forget, the reason why he is this way is because he's getting lots of money from the Muslim Brotherhood. He's kowtowing to them. Literally. When bullies get bullied, violence begets us. Well, let's be clear.
When you squash your man's beef,
Are you not crazy?
I was explaining.
What does say no more?
I was explaining myself.
What the fuck does say no?
You know, I don't know. This is all coming out of England. You're putting too many links in the room. I'm going to ban you. David, we need more Muslims in the United States. I'm not going to blame anybody for anything. I'm tired of people blaming people for things. One of the common ingredients of people who are mentally ill and people with megalomaniacal narcissism, like Trump has, they tend to blame everything on everyone around them. They truly do. So Trump fired nearly 50 people in his administration over the past 3 years, blaming them for all his problems. We have a malignant narcissist as a president. This is not some joke. This is a serious matter. We've got a demented pervert coming in from the back, thinking he's going to become, our greatest president. We've had great presidents in our time. Some people don't like Abraham Lincoln. They want to deny our belief that he's a good guy. Ron doesn't like him. Ron said he was a tyrant. Ron over at DLive says Abraham Lincoln was a tyrant, and I'm beginning to see your point. I never knew that about Abraham Lincoln, that he was pro-slavery for all those years. He was, however, a man, and you have to admit this, he was a man who was virtually torn apart in his own life. And he had a wife that was going crazy while he was leading the country. Mary Todd Lincoln went mentally ill completely while he was in the office. He had some boys. I mean, the whole thing, the fact that he was leading a war, and the South called it the War of Northern Aggression, because of Lincoln, he got a really bad rap. But I can see how Ron would think he was a tyrant, that Lincoln was a tyrant too, the way he behaved. According to Mad Dog, Lincoln did virtually the potato famine on the Southerners, completely starved them out. They had no food. He destroyed all food supplies whenever they took over territories, leaving them nothing. They had to eat the corn kernel out of the cow crap. The worst situation in the world is put people in starvation, and that's what Lincoln did. So I'm not aspiring to being Lincoln, but I do look a lot like him. I will admit that. He didn't really finish off with the Reconstruction. We never really adapted to a better country. We've had an outburst of anger and hostility from the African Americans that have been freed from slavery, that have been given a Civil Rights Act to give them as many rights and opportunities as anybody in the world, who still complain about not having enough equal opportunity when they got affirmative action money and got a chance to go to some of the best colleges in the world with free education whenever they showed aptitude. That's still not enough. And now you have a very violent group of BLM people who are being pushed by the Jewish elite as their big, huge, almost a method to create friction in America. The Zionist elite have actually, not Jewish, mind you, necessarily Zionist, because some Jewish people decide to be Zionists. There are a lot of non-Jewish Zionists like Joe Biden. The Zionists are now trying to pitch this idea that the poor black people really is their cause. And I disagree. I actually did a blackface video because I was parodying the horrible nature of Barack Obama, not making fun of black people. I was simply making an issue, a satirical statement about how Barack Obama was using his African American status as a way of controlling people, a demagogue, if you will. So what Lincoln tried to do failed, and mostly due to the fact that they killed him, the people that started the Civil War. I don't believe Lincoln was the sole reason why they had a Civil War. I believe that it was started for banking reasons. Okay. Yeah, we're in sucky times. We have to go back to the president that was around over 100 years ago. Yeah. Well, I'm saying that Lincoln has a historical place in history that I don't think you could even begin to compare any other president to, except for John F. Kennedy. But Lincoln was through a lot harder times than John F. Kennedy went through. John F. Kennedy encountered the Cuban Missile Crisis, of course, missiles of October. But Lincoln encountered the worst war, bloody war of our time. 500, 600,000 men and women hurt, mostly men, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. Killed, I should say. 2 million people were hurt had their arms and legs hacked off because of infection or whatever. 2 million people suffered from the Civil War, and 500 to 600,000 people died. But that's nothing compared to all the people that died during the Spanish flu. When Rockefeller decided to contaminate the vaccinations that were distributed to everybody with the Spanish flu, they've been doing vaccinations for a long time. It's not some new thing. When John D. Rockefeller, who surprisingly looks like Ellen DeGeneres, when John D. Rockefeller essentially contaminated the vaccine in 1918 with the influenza B virus, they inoculated 500,000 people. 500 million people. Not 500,000, 500 million people. And they killed 100 million people. Now remember, 500,000 people died during the Civil War. This guy killed 100 million people. Not 500,000, 100 million with bad vaccinations. So here we are. Same kind of people, same people working for the Rockefeller Foundation are trying to do the same thing again. Today there was some pretty bad news for you QAnoners, and I welcome you people into the party. I carry in the line against the deep state. I hope you realize no hard feelings that you support Trump. But I'm the guy working every day for the past 12 years to expose what apparently is a deep state plan to hurt our country. Yeah. Truly. All right, I just had the article. I don't have it with me right now. But I will get back to that article. Oh, here it is. Okay, I got it. Thank you. Here is the article, QAnoners. QAnoners, that's Disneyland, sorry. I didn't want to take you on the Magic Kingdom ride. Okay, Twitter bans 7,000 QAnoners accounts, limits 150,000 others as part of a broad crackdown. Yep. We've been clear, Twitter Safety says, we've been clear that we will take strong enforcement action on behavior that has the potential to lead to offline harm. In line with this approach, this week we are taking further action on so-called QAnon activity across the service. Now, you and I both know that QAnon is doing a lot of work with the Wayfair Gate story. They've been advancing the story on Ghislaine Maxwell, and if you're here for that reason, we can certainly talk about that tonight. It's terrible what's happening. The QAnon group has been doing the detailed research to pull up information about Wayfair and other areas, and now they're getting kicked off the internet because Wayfair is getting exposed to liabilities. Yeah. So very weird things are happening. We talked about Wayfair and how furniture is priced up to ridiculous numbers of $12,000, $13,799 for a Yaritza storage cabinet. You saw this? This is at Wayfair. It's also happening at Amazon and other places, not just Wayfair. But yeah, Yaritza happens to be an innocent young girl who was just 16-year-old girl who was taken from her home in Harwinton, Connecticut. Yeah, so suddenly Yaritza's for sale as a piece of furniture. Very weird stuff, and I appreciate what QAnon is doing. I really do. As far as claiming Trump is behind everything, that's just total BS, and you know it. Did video go out for any of you? Let's find out. I've got a PDF document that's pretty powerful called the COVID scam. Okay, let me read parts of it for you. What we're actually seeing, and I'm going to read it verbatim, is the systemic implementation of the fall of the Republic and the rise of the corporation and of the United States. So people don't realize that the United States corporation was established in 1871, and now they're trying to consolidate it as the sole source, abandoning our republic. Every major event is a step in the ladder to achieve that end. COVID is just another rung in the ladder, which is why there's a deliberate mixing of the wordplay. We should stop calling it quarantine, as that's a term for people who are verified sick. This is a house arrest mandated by the state. We should stop calling it social distancing. There's nothing social about forced isolation. Right. We should stop saying safer at home when millions of Americans don't have basic necessities adequate to fit their needs. It assumes that everybody's home is equally as safe as the people that are making the statements. We should stop saying this is for the greater good. When you close the economy, killing millions of businesses that families have worked generations to establish, that's anything but good. We should stop saying this is the new normal. That's just blatant mind control drivel. There's nothing normal about forced isolation. Treating your neighbor like they have the plague, breathing your own bodily waste wearing a mask, living in constant fear of contamination. That's normal? I mean, after all, if the virus is so deadly, why hasn't it wiped out the homeless who don't social distance, wash themselves regularly, or let alone live in or have access to a sterile environment? Last year, 1.5 million people died of tuberculosis. Why weren't you wearing a mask during the tuberculosis pandemic? You were endangering public and safety along with billions of other people around the globe, so why didn't you wear a mask? I'll tell you why, because the mainstream media didn't tell you to wear a mask. And because 1.5 million people died from tuberculosis, there was no tuberculosis pandemic, any more than there's a coronavirus pandemic. What you're really participating in is a beta test for AI systems and facial recognition. The cameras work best when people are distanced apart. Now they're actually testing through machine learning how to recognize a face that's partially covered. It's also a way to easily determine who's compliant and who's not, who does the propaganda work on and who it doesn't. Now get this, there are some ironies that are here. A society that kills millions of babies per year for convenience, has shut itself down to prevent adults from dying. Yeah, but they're dying. You know, on a side note, you see COVID positive people being put in nursing homes. People that on the end slaughter babies in the womb by millions are now preaching to the masses about the sanctity of human life. It's double speak, double talk. It's the two doctrine policy, one for the initiated, one for the uninitiated, one for the inner circle, another for the masses. It's saying if I violate the stay-at-home order, I could be arrested. Yet you're letting convicted criminals out of prison so they don't get coronavirus. It's absurd. Thesis, antithesis, synthesis. If there was a real pandemic, does it require faulty virus models, rigged test results, 81% false positive testing? Yeah, these COVID PCR tests are 81% false positive. Inaccurate news reporting, staged hospital overruns, manipulated death certificates. Nope. When the government shuts down millions of small businesses but doesn't lay off any government employees, it's not about your health. When the state bans dentists from practicing but deems it necessary for abortion clinics to stay open, it's not about your health. When the state prevents you from buying seeds for your garden but allows you to purchase lottery tickets, it's not about your health. An institution that has the ability to destroy all of the earth through alleged nuclear warfare should not regulate personal self-defense. An institution that's caught trafficking drugs shouldn't be able to regulate plants. An institution that racked up $23 trillion in debt prior to coronavirus shouldn't be allowed to manage the retirement fund. An institution that was caught spreading STDs should not be allowed to run healthcare. If people were really concerned about public health and safety, they don't care if people eat garbage, drink poison, smoke cancer, take prescription drugs, but think that toilet paper and hand sanitizer and masks are going to protect them from the boogeyman coronavirus. Well, this is a special kind of stupid that won't be addressed here. You should ask yourself a couple basic questions. When did you consent from you creating a government to serve you, to you serving the government ruling over you? If you want to know who's in charge, you just think about who you can and can't criticize. Great. And there's a video from this that I don't have to read, so I can just play it. Cool. The COVID scam, it's called. All right.
Oh, should I change my shirt?
No, that's cool. It doesn't matter. Very good. Ace Spade says, David, the government locked me in my home. I have COVID and I've been living on nothing but Stouffer's French bread pizza. Are you serious? I'm sorry, man. Wow. Ace Spade's now living in...
If that happened here, they would have people who would go shopping for you.
Yeah, supposedly Washington has people that go shopping for you if it happened in Washington, but that's just talk. We don't know if that's true.
Yeah, they haven't locked anybody in yet.
Yeah, they haven't. Tappan says you can't buy seeds for your garden. Believe it or not, in Vermont you can't buy seeds for your garden. That's a really good article. So these watermelons won't grow. Yeah. He's got watermelons, they're not growing, and can't eat anything but this frozen Stouffer's French bread pizza. Wow. I'm so sorry for you, Ice Spade. That's really bad news, man. I hope you get better. Sounds like you need somebody in your family to go shopping and drop it off at the front door. David, why did Trump wish Ghislaine Maxwell well? This came in the news today. It's very strange. I was going to talk about it later, but I'll bring it up now. Yeah, it's like Ghislaine Maxwell is so close and Jeffrey Epstein is so close to Donald Trump. He wishes her well. A woman who's been accused of sex trafficking minors for years with Jeffrey Epstein. You can see Donald Trump is not separated from Ghislaine Maxwell, who he knows very well, nor is he separated from Jeffrey Epstein. Ask about the case. President just says, I just wish her well, frankly. Yeah, no, there's a lot of stories about Ghislaine Maxwell that are starting to, spin out of control. No mugshot of her at all. No audio of her in the transcript that we heard, the arraignment hearing. For all intents and purposes, Ghislaine Maxwell's probably not in custody right now. That she faked that too. That's how powerful she is. Anyway, I'm going to break off for a break, and Sarah's going to give you some time. So we're going to go to the break room. And she's going to give you some, pleasant conversation time. I'll be back. If you want to watch her show in live, you can watch it now in the show, or you can catch our Twitter feed on Periscope. It has the full show. Thank you. Yes, enjoy the dinner. I made whatever you want. Help yourself. It's all yours. Welcome, everybody. I'm David Sponheim, and this is the news. Okay, welcome everybody. Mayor McCheese says, if someone uses AdBlock, does Mark get any money from that someone being here? Mark, I understand, is using Bitcoin miners. That's what people tell me. I can't verify it. And the fact of the matter is, your RAM is probably being used for that purpose, and it is illegal for people to do that. I just got rumors that Mark uses that, as well as other networks out there. So one of the things you can do is you get the Chrome browser like we have, and like right now I'm reading a Reddit ad about, basically a Reddit story about Jeffrey Epstein and a private blog he had, right? And I that's the side topic I have here, but I'm using the Chrome browser, and I drop down, I use those little, well, you can't even see them there. Let me open up the screen some more. Hang on. Taking the entire screen, looking at the corner of your screen, you've got 3 little dots here. And you want to click on those dots on the Chrome browser and open up your extension menu. And for some reason, it's not popping up on the screen for me. But it's the drop-down menu takes you to more tools and then extensions. and then you open up your extension menu. In this case, I'm using a product called a CoinHive Blocker, and another product called Miner Block, and uBlock Origin, and they're all free. You just have to look them all up. So yeah, so that go with that. That's the best way to deal with it, McCheese. Okay, I'll write them down for you. You can just look them up, cut and paste them in a notepad, and then look this stuff up. And it has to be uBlock Origin. It was written by a high school student. You know, these are great programs. They work really well. All right, here you go. And I'm going to give all of this to all of you. Yeah, Bitcoin harvesting is very common. Oh, it's happening all over the place. I can't tell you. If your computer is running a little hot, you are suffering from Bitcoin mining. So get these things, and let me give you guys DLive these things too. Corona hysteria hoax. Yeah, I hear you. It's crazy how many people are overwhelmed with this coronavirus fear. You know, our great president, and he was bad in some ways, but our great president, FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, said a really profound thing, and it really rings true throughout history. Is the only thing you have to fear is fear itself. So yeah, fear is kind of scary, isn't it? And the scarier you think it is, the more frightened you become and the more you fear. It's like a do loop. So here we went on a very, very fast pace to shutting the economy down. I mean, who would shut the economy down? Oh, they told me to shut it down, so I shut it down. Well, Donald, you should never have done that. Now we got to start it up, and you're not doing a very good job of it. Neither is Biden. He sounds like he's too tired, you know. I actually used to like Biden at one time when he was a centrist. Now he's a leftist, supporting not only Black Lives Matter terrorist groups that get money from the Muslim Brotherhood, we know for a fact, but also getting money through a woman who's a terrorist. Joe Biden owes money, really. I mean, when you think about it, he owes favor to the Muslim Brotherhood because a known terrorist named Susan Rosenberg, who was arrested for bombing 3 buildings, federal buildings, in 1983, and then she got 51 years in prison, commuted by Bill Clinton, and got out at 13 years. She started working right away as a financial advisor for Black Lives Matter, a known terrorist. So the Democrats have become the Antifa-crats, and Biden is sucking off the money from foreigners, especially the Muslim Brotherhood and George Soros. But let's not forget, Trump is part of that same New World Order cadre. He's part of the Russian end, the eastern end of the Russian oligarch control. And they answer to the same people. Both the left and the right answer to the Rothschilds and the Warburgs and all these other groups of families that have been so powerful and so rich for so long that their money has catapulted them into trillion-dollar savings they don't even want you to know about. So they let you believe that they are simply... Dave, why is it hard for you to get people to get into the channel? I am DDoSed on a nightly basis. I told you that. I'm the most censored person in the world, it seems. The Teenage Millionaire Hacker. It's 3 minutes long. I'll put that in the lineup. I normally don't take your feeds. You're a robot. And folks, Mark only lets robots in now. I had a conversation between 3 auto robots in a show 2 nights ago. I saved the chat. I'm not going to read it, but whenever I want to read something really kind of weird, I read this conversation between these 3 robots in my chat room. It's the weirdest thing. So Misanthropy uses DLive for video because the clear picture is good. Other people who have a very low connection go to Periscope, and we have a Periscope link, which we post at @thirdparty every day. Why am I censored? You have to ask that question, really? Well, I'm a third party trying to form a union in the country between left and right people. I'm the most dangerous person in a corrupt country, an honest man. So that's why I'm censored. Very simply put, they're frightened of what I can do by simply adapting to the audience that I have on a daily basis. And I was a left-wing Democrat. I'm not going to deny that I wasn't a Democrat, but not a lefty. I wasn't a communist or a socialist. I was a Democrat. More of a blue dog Democrat. More like Joe Biden, actually. My politics was so similar to Joe Biden that in 2007, I was the only person actually chatting and blogging in his room. I literally was. I mean, on record, David Sponheim in his room in 2007, if he has copies of that. Either way, I don't agree with Biden on a lot of issues simply because he took my public option idea and used it as his own. Now, I had this idea back, 8-9 years ago, to give people a $60 a month plan. What's his total that he's saying? $60 a month. They're using the same numbers I was using virtually 10 years ago even. So the public option is clearly the best way to go with the healthcare thing, so it's not mandatory. The truth is, a lot of you people don't have a lot of money. You don't. And I don't expect you to pay what Nancy Pelosi expected people, $7,000 per person for healthcare. We need to scale back the cost of healthcare, and Biden doesn't really solve that problem. I do with my mobile medical unit idea. Now, you may have heard about the mobile medical unit idea from Donald Trump, because he stole the idea from me. He never followed up on it, and Mitch McConnell never put that into his budget when he tried to overturn and repeal Obamacare. So being this is an incredible plan, it provides people the preventative medicine that they need and the triage that is so necessary when people are like, even with a broken limb. You know, if you're going to go in for an x-ray at a hospital, it's going to be about $1,200. But you go to the mobile medical unit, we will have a portable x-ray unit and tell you what you need to know for a $30 copay. We'll also give you a potential solution, either casting or there may be a cast fee, I don't know. But we can certainly do diagnostics for $30. And that's something he doesn't talk about. My mobile medical unit idea actually will lower the cost of healthcare by as much as 80% in our public sector. And unlike the Democrats, and this I saw all of their debates, they all argue about wanting to get rid of the private healthcare sector. I don't do that. My mobile medical unit idea actually preserves the private healthcare system. We don't even touch it. We just simply offer a robust public healthcare system. So I'll show you a picture of the mobile medical units. Just the idea itself, this is an actual thing that's in existence right now. But if we had 200 of them across the country, we could actually solve some serious problems. Yeah, let me show you a picture of it right now. There it is. The MMU, Rapid Response Unit. And the MMU could actually get to any location anywhere in the country within a 25, 30-mile driving radius. So if you're in Chicago, we could, and there's a problem outside in Decatur, Illinois. You know, we could probably get people to that location on the mobile medical unit that could help with people in that area. We could have 10 units in every major city. The initial budgeting for this is only $1 billion for the first year. And 1 year of operation will cost $1 billion. That's just to get up and going because we plan on getting a return on investment and getting $30 copays from people. And when they can't pay, Medicaid kicks in. I'm going to try to make everything as simple as possible so we all can get basic services without having to rethink or overthink the problem. Basically, we need people who are into healthcare providing, who love what they do, not people who are in it for money. And there will be a big, huge process of weeding that people out. You'll also get a lot of things like free medical malpractice insurance when you work in these types of environments.
This isn't the real Piccadilly Circus.
You're just in love with BBC, man. I've never seen somebody promote the British Broadcasting Network more than you do. Are you working for BBC? I wouldn't doubt you're a robot working for BBC. Do you respond to actual chat? Let's see if I can communicate with this Autobot, this chatbot. Hello, DC Wagon. Welcome. Do you work for BBC? Are you into BBC? Yep, those trailer park surgeons, we need the medical malpractice for sure. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. A lot of trailer park surgeons are going to be dealing with, say for instance, you walk in and you want to know, gee, how am I going to get health care? I don't have any history because I haven't been to a doctor all my life. They don't care. This will not ask you questions. It will not tag you. Biden's plan will tag you and stick you in the Obamacare plan, and everything will be registered, and your entire history will be analyzed. We'll merely videotape the session for legal purposes. That's it. No question of liabilities. It'll all be videotaped. Any specific values that come up on the screen will be yours to keep. A private copy, whatever we tell you, is yours to take to your next doctor if you want to, or get a second opinion. The key thing is, why are people not using healthcare? Because it's too costly. But now there's another reason. Because they could get COVID-19. They don't want to go to healthcare unless they absolutely have to. Well, the good thing is this system dovetails very nicely with the current healthcare system, because people are using hospitals less and less. If you go to Film Your Hospital right now, hashtag Film Your Hospital, you won't see any busy hospitals in America. Most of the COVID-19 stuff is being hyped. I'm serious. You won't find hospitals in your area even busy. I guarantee if you drive by one of your hospitals, you will not see hardly anybody in the parking lot. John Bolton, wow, that's nice to know.
Third party, because I don't think there are any that...
Wow, so John Bolton is endorsing a third party? Wow. It would be nice if he mentions my name. Isn't that a great idea? So I'm going to keep these things on the screen for you to look at while I talk about them. John Bolton. Wow. He's talking about a third party. Let's take a look.
...to a strong position. So that's one reason I'm not going to vote for Biden. I agree with you completely, because at best, his policies will be another 4 years of the Obama administration. I'm not actually going to vote for a third party because I don't think there are any I'm going to write in somebody whose name is yet to be determined, because I don't see either of the candidates being ones that I can support in good conscience.
Are you afraid that if Joe Biden...
Thanks, Ben. Well, good to know. He's going to write somebody's name in. Hopefully it'll be mine. That's kind of exciting. You know, John Bolton was very key to tell people about Trump's ineptitude in relationship to China and Russia. And he said that Russia has Donald Trump wrapped around his finger. Their finger. They literally, Putin controls everything he does. So you got to understand, John Bolton talked to Putin directly, so he knows. Putin has a swagger about him and acts like he controls Donald Trump, no problem. Anyway, moving on, the mobile medical units will have a open-ended MRI. Isn't that cool? Many of you get claustrophobic. No, actually, I don't think we're going to be able to put an MRI in there unless the cost comes down a little bit. Shapiro is a genius. All I get is a lot of BS from liberal land and a very high-pitched voice. You know, if you vote for me, Stormy, you're getting into a group of people that are all going to vote for me. So your chances of winning get bigger and bigger the more people vote for me. This is not some pyramid scheme. I'm not asking you to get other people to vote for me unless you want to. You're not going to benefit from that, other than I'm going to save your ass from the coming apocalypse. I saw the question. What is the question? Okay. No Slags, you're obsessed now with Long Dong Silver? Why is that music playing? Oh, it's that 4K tropical beach sound, gentle ocean wave sounds. Sarah was playing in the background. Look at that. I was wondering why I was starting to fall asleep, and then I realized I needed my coconut, my dinner for the evening. I don't know what you're talking about. No. Dirt, skeletons in your closet, is that what it means, Connect and Enjoy? Ginsburg is suffering from another round of liver problems. She is responding to treatment well, so I just hope she's not, hooked up to the 5G network, which could cause radiation burns in her body. Because it isn't fully tested, I wouldn't want, Ruth Ginsburg to be sitting here with the cell phone next to her head getting brain cancer while she's fighting her liver cancer. Can you imagine how screwed up that would be? So I'm going to take you to Ruth Ginsburg in the hospital. And I'll guarantee there's no pictures of her. Yep. Oh, wait a second. We got something. We possibly have something. She's been released. She's in a bubble. She's in a COVID bubble, so she's avoiding any infection. That is so smart. I love the doctors that did this. Seriously, you think I'm kidding? That is the smartest thing you can do to somebody who's fighting a disease. They put her in a bubble. There she is. She's looking pretty good. I got to tell you, she's a fighter. She's out there doing weightlifting. Look at this. She's headed home. You go, girl. You go, Ruth. You're awesome. Holding up the Democrats, right? Yeah. Of course, Trump has stacked the court so heavily with Russian sympathists, it's not even funny. Almost 187 federal judges pretty much suck off of Russia's tit. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say that? Well, I'm the most relevant candidate, I'll tell you that. Thank you, Blue Medic. Well, I can tell you my original goal was to get the Democrats a better approach to dealing with the constitutional issues that the Republicans were so strong on. And I realized I couldn't possibly bring Democrats in on the Second Amendment. They don't understand the Second Amendment. They don't even understand the need for it. Many people have been falling for all these false flags over the past 10, 15 years. I would say over 50 different shooting events have very little evidence that anyone died. I'm just saying that randomly because, well, I can. And I can tell you if you can show me solid evidence of people shot and killed in all these events of shooters, I'd be glad to know it. So I'm very suspicious when this recent judge has had her son died. I mean, literally, her son has passed away. And apparently the anti-feminist suspect is dead after the son of the federal judge was killed. Judge Esther Salas lost her son, a beautiful young man who could have had a wonderful life, and she no longer has a son. I mean, this is the worst tragedy on earth that she's going through. Ruth is dating your ex-boyfriend? Really, Stormy? Wow. So you're saying that... don't tell me more. I don't want to know. So, strangely enough, the FBI identified attorney Roy Den Hollander as a suspect gunman who attacked the home of a federal judge in New Jersey. The gunman allegedly shot and killed Daniel Anderl, Salas' 20-year-old son, and wounded her husband, Mark Anderl, age 63. Salas was reportedly unharmed in the attack. Den Hollander is now deceased. How convenient. I like all chicken. I'm big on chicken. I like chicken. I used to have really good experiences with big buckets of KFC when I was a kid. So yeah, I definitely like chicken. I like both white and dark. Officials did not provide any details about how or when the suspect died. However, New York State Police say he was found dead Monday in Rockland, New York. The investigation is still underway. There's talk that maybe the lawyer had a terminal illness. Everything sounds so pat. You know, the guy kills her son, allegedly killed another judge a month ago with the same MO. Now, we have to go dig deep into this to find the story, so hopefully some of you will do that, because if we pull out the judge that was shot, we don't even have any record of this. If there's no media record of a judge that was shot a month ago by a guy in a FedEx vehicle, because I don't remember it, then there's telltale signs of a made-up story, which would mean that the mob took out the judge's son, you know, to make sure she does very nice things during the Epstein case. You know what I'm talking about? All I'm saying is if Epstein, in the Deutsche Bank case, which is the central case, this woman, Judge Esther Saleh is doing, then we have to assume that there could have been some interplay between the constituents of this particular investigation and what might have happened accidentally through a limited copycat situation like the FedEx truck. Exactly. So if that's the case, then we are definitely dealing with a cover-up or lack of investigation, because right now they want this case closed. Meanwhile, Ghislaine Maxwell is still not dead. Yeah, people think she's going to fake her death. I don't even think she's at the location she is. And why Trump said he hopes Ghislaine's well today shows you that Donald Trump is very much involved with Jeffrey Epstein to this day. And so is Ghislaine. Yeah. Ghislaine had the Terramar operation where she wanted to turn all of the ocean. This is how grandiose Ghislaine is. She wanted to turn all of the ocean that is not part of the international waters outside of every country. We're talking about 60% of our ocean. She wanted to turn all of that into her country. And she wanted to call it Terramar. And she had passports for anybody who wanted to travel on the ocean, that they could buy a passport and be a legitimate, in her mind, a legitimate nation. This woman is grandiose beyond all belief. They claim that she's got multiple licenses in helicopter and submarine operating. And we talked last night about the possibility that there is a submarine underwater that could get to Jeffrey Epstein's Little St. James Island. Absolutely no, we know this to be true, that there's no investigation going on into this by the FBI. We know this to be true. They never looked into the dungeons at Jeffrey Epstein's island. That's true too. So today we deal with truth. Yesterday was conspiracy. All right? So if there is some relationship between the Deutsche Bank Epstein case, which is all about Deutsche Bank taking Epstein's money, and all their investors going, wait a second, this is not right. Something's wrong. Why would you take Epstein's money? They have a clause at Deutsche Bank that tries to eliminate dealing with money racketeering and human trafficking. They have a whole process they go through. So it's no joke that about a year and a half, 2 years ago, the Deutsche Bank executive that handled all of Donald Trump's $1 billion loan with Deutsche Bank, and he still has that loan. It is shocking. And I know. Eric, Trump participated in Epstein's sex trafficking underage. We don't know, but it does sound like it could have happened. Yeah. Thank you, Eric. But we do know that the cases involved are overwhelming. There are cases where missing girls, 1,000 missing girls are out there. We don't have any solid leads. The government isn't even admitting that they have so many missing kids. There's all kinds of cover-ups left and right. We have a section on Epstein. Here's the Deutsche Bank story. Former Deutsche Bank executive connected to Trump's loan dies by suicide in Malibu. Yeah. Not amazing? A very young 55-year-old man killed himself in Malibu out of the blue about a year and a half ago. Some people believe this was a hit. All we know is that he was the guy that handled all of Trump's original loan documents with Deutsche. Very strange. His name was Thomas Bowers, the one-time head of Deutsche Bank's American Wealth Management Division, where he oversaw Trump's private banking. We also know that Trump banked with Anthony Kennedy's son, and still may even have him as his money manager. Yeah, he was the guy that Brett Kavanaugh filled. So Brett Kavanaugh took the place of Anthony Kennedy, whose son handles the Deutsche Bank account right now for Donald Trump. So all these questions remain. Is Jeffrey Epstein alive? Is our government going to even admit the possibility that he's alive? No, there won't be any mention of it. They claim that maybe he was murdered. There's no evidence he was murdered when everything points to him being fake murdered. Yeah. The most compelling evidence, if you haven't seen it, is his comparison between his noses. The nose of the decedent and the nose of Jeffrey Epstein. It's classic bait and switch here. It's essentially putting us in the belief that, oh yeah, everything checked out. No, actually, the only person that ID'd his nose, I'm going to have to put it ahead of my mobile medical unit there. There we go. The only person that ID'd his nose was his brother, Mark. So this clearly is Jeffrey Epstein. This clearly is not. So Jeffrey Epstein, by conclusion, is alive. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Yet our government won't acknowledge anything about that or the 50 false flags that have happened over the past 10 years. So my case is that we've been lied to, misled, jerked around as a society into believing that we're now in need of being held hostage for our own safety. And it's laughable that we're all forced to wear masks that don't even prevent viruses from entering our body. It's pathetic, actually. It is absolutely pathetic. Meanwhile, these people get away with unbelievable, unspeakable crimes against children. You live in Ireland, in Dublin, and right now you all seem like a third world country. I agree, Irish drunk man, yeah. We're just managing things on a day-to-day basis. Most people just do their marketing once every couple weeks now. Our economy is coming down to a complete shutdown because our president is that inept. And all these Republicans continue to believe that somehow Donald Trump is helping make America great again. That's how mixed up our country is. I agree with you. Trump and Epstein are very good friends. They do have the pics together. I wouldn't doubt they still talk to each other. I doubt that separation ever occurred that Trump said he had with Epstein, because Epstein, his cousin, Boris Epstein, works as Trump's top advisor in the 2020 campaign. So, I mean, come on. You couldn't have a more cozy, nepotistic relationship with a bunch of sleazebags, as Donald Trump has. I'm not saying his cousin is a sleazebag. I'm saying Jeffrey Epstein is. I don't know Boris Epstein. He might be a nice guy. I mean, I don't have any personal enmity toward any of these people. So, looking through our Flipboard, if you want to look at our Epstein file, this is pretty interesting for those of you who touched down on Periscope tonight. Yeah, I know you did look. We had a few people looking for that information. Hi there, Bananas. Welcome. Bananas, here's my Flipboard Epstein board. You can check it out. This is pretty powerful. There's pictures of Epstein alive. And the more we look into Ghislaine Maxwell's personal life, the weirder it gets. She apparently is an overseer, a high-level Mossad agent. So now we have a judge who's a Jewish woman who is simply investigating a Mossad agent. Why would we allow a Jewish prosecutor to investigate a Mossad agent? There's a conflict of interest there. She's not objective. She favors Israel, and if Israel's Mossad agents are out there collecting pedophilic data on our politicians and using it against them, do you think she'll provide an honest and fair, objective judgeship? Hell no. Well, she will never end up, well, of course we all end up dead eventually, but she won't end up dead anytime soon. She's probably not even in jail right now. Why else would the government not post a mugshot of her? Come on. That's ridiculous. If they don't have a mugshot of her, she's not even in their custody. She's in some, I would say, a hotel at the Ritz. I'm not going to say the Ritz-Carlton because that's a special location, but I'm sure she's at the Ritz right now saying, "Oh, Jeffrey, how long does this terrible thing have to go on? So much has wasted. I could be working to develop Terramana. There is no limit, Jeffrey. But I suppose we'll go through the motions of me being in prison, although I'm here, enjoying dining on adrenochrome." Ha ha ha. Well, I'm very flattering of her, yeah. I mean, I don't like her the way Donald Trump does. I just think she's a pretty odd person in the world. I don't endorse her behavior, nor do I know anything about her. But she's an odd person in that she has a degree, or she has the certification to actually fly or manage all of these vehicles, like 6 or 7 vehicles. She's got she's the most permitted person on earth to fly, take helicopters, literally go underwater into the underwater storage area where they keep most of their private things. Now, David, you can't possibly be serious. What a wonderful world this would be. Hey, Sam, his dad, I saw that video last night of 2 men, a white man and a black man. Very famous white man, a very famous black man, talk in the 1950s about race relations. And I'm going to play more of it tonight. This is not conspiracy. No, this is Truth Tuesday. The truth is we don't even know if she's in custody. That's the truth. William Buckley Jr. is one of the funniest guys in our political history. He's a commentator that absolutely boggled people's minds with his vocabulary. I mean, he was up there with Edgar Allan Poe with the words he used, and simply continued rambling on about how we don't have a purpose to go beyond what we already have done with black Americans. Yes, William F. Buckley Jr. And we will play more of that tonight. Yeah, that was good. Thank you for the link. I never had seen it, and it's very enjoyable. And it's fair. It's the plight of James Baldwin versus William F. Buckley. I'll play a snippet of it for you. I did last night, just a touch. 1965, I thought it was 55, I'm sorry. It was right at the peak of the Civil War. Excuse me, the Civil Rights Act. It seems like we're still fighting the Civil War, doesn't it? Yeah, it does, Dave. It does. Okay, here's a man speaking for the plight of the black man.
Or a Mississippi sharecropper, or a Mississippi sheriff, or a Frenchman driven out of Algeria, all have, at bottom, a system of reality which compels them to, for example, in the case of the French exile from Algeria, to defend French reasons for having ruled Algeria.
James Baldwin, synopsizing a massive speech that he made, he pretty much said that people can't help who they are. They are forced to be who they are. That's right. The last photo we saw of Ghislaine Maxwell was of her at the In-N-Out Burger, which has already been debunked as a paste-up, a Photoshop. Good point. But none of us asked to be born any which particular way, but the plight of the black people in America is difficult, especially with systemic racism. And William F. Buckley completely ran off that we aren't responsible for more than what we've done already. Ostensibly, we've done so much with the Civil Rights Act at the time, and then later we could say the argument is also true with affirmative action. Although he didn't say that, that's what I say.
To material progress, it is in fact the case that 7/10 of the white income of the United States is equal to the income that is made by the average people. I don't think this is an irrelevant statistic, ladies and gentlemen.
So he was acknowledging that the income differential is so great between blacks and whites. That's certainly something we could all look at. So I don't think we should stop the dialogue and make it left versus right or black versus white. We have to start the dialogue up, but we can't solve these problems right now while we're in a COVID hell. We need to address police brutality, and when we do that, we'll begin to mend our society. Meanwhile, we're uncovering all the depths of corruption that lingered in this high society of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. We see his relationship with Donald Trump. This story talks about Epstein used Donald Trump's airlines to carry a young girl and traffic a child. Very interesting stuff. This is a powerful one about Epstein's plan, Ghislaine Maxwell's plan of Terra Mar, and the project to rule the world on the oceans, really. I mean, so we have a whole video of that later. I played it for all of us on YouTube, and I put it in the lineup, I believe. It's definitely worth watching again tonight, for sure. I'll make sure I watch that. So that and the William Buckley case is really good stuff. We're going to find out more about the perspectives from a very intellectual standpoint from both black and white. I think that's an interesting way of looking at this problem, because it's not just about, you know, stopping people from rioting. Donald Trump has done nothing to appease the problem. He's done nothing like what I'm recommending and have for 12 years, defunding the police unless they do sensitivity training. Really? You got a cheeseburger, double? Wow, lucky you. Hopefully nobody prepared it with any type of COVID on their fingers. Make sure your food handlers don't have COVID fingers. Our food handlers don't have any COVID fingers. So he bought a $4 million helicopter, and Ghislaine flew it. Epstein's former long-term girlfriend and closest aide, Maxwell, received her pilot's license to fly helicopters in 2007. That same year, Epstein struck a sweetheart non-prosecution deal with the Florida DA. Good point. That's messed up. Yeah, so while Jeffrey Epstein's going off to serve his time at a posh prison in Florida, where I understand he had visitations from young girls in the prison. That's what I heard. He served his 13 months. She was out gallivanting around doing his bidding as his helicopter and a complete operations manager. And when he did get arrested, she sued him. Yeah, there's a lawsuit pending between Ghislaine and him. So there must have been some differences of opinion about their fortune. Well, that's right. How can Epstein rule the seas? Well, her Terra Mar operation was trying to turn the seas into a new country. Yeah, Portland's got some big problems. I'm suggesting maybe we do a barbecue, like a really nice barbecue, social spacing involved, where we set everything up in a wooded area. So when I come back, I'm going to look for a nice area near Portland that could be bought by the federal government to turn it into a small town village. What I'm urging people to think about is...
Did they do that in Chicago as well?
Yes. The thing is, these cities have a homeless population we're not addressing, and that's part of the reason why we have riots, is the homeless population. So I think if we solve the big thing about people needing a place to live and food in their stomach, you're going to see a lot less people upset. I guarantee it. David, we need to pay attention. I am paying attention. So Trump sent federal border patrol cops to Portland without permission of the mayor, and now he wants to send federal officers to Chicago. Yeah. And frankly, I don't even know who these officers are and where the orders from the Department of Homeland Security are, so Trump may be doing this himself. He may have formed an SS service, a secret police that he's using. I don't know. It's very suspicious. It's my new bottle Sarah and I ordered from Amazon. Somebody said, hey, Dave, you got to use the fruit mist with a bottle. And I agree.
Glass bottle.
Yeah, if I use plastic, it's just not the same. It's like so crisp when it hits my face. See you in a bit.
I like it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Oh, I didn't quite. Yeah, I didn't even bring the blue room up. Hang on. All right, we're back up again and discussing things about the universe, nature. Epstein's former long-term girlfriend and closest aide, Maxwell, received her pilot's license to fly helicopters in 2007. Same year, Epstein struck a sweetheart non-prosecution deal with the Florida DA. Yeah, it was the last we heard from anybody at iVlog. So Epstein bought her a $4 million helicopter as a payback for getting the license to fly it. Oh, it was an elk? I'm sorry. We were looking at an elk earlier. No wonder it looked different than my deer. I will now introduce my elk story. driving down, going to California on the Highway 101, talking to myself, singing, making music. No. The elk was standing right in the middle of the highway on the way down to California one year. Somehow I secretly in my mind knew that something was up ahead, even though I had very bad visibility. It was raining and it was dark. And I just decided to change lanes. And it's the most amazing psychic ability I have. Luckily, I got past a beautiful, full male elk about the size of this one. Would have went right through my windshield. You wouldn't be talking to me right now. If I was alive, it would probably be in traction with, paralyzed. I know of people who've had similar situations where they run into an elk. It's terrible. Same with a moose. Moose can kill you. You're going 50, 60, 70 miles an hour, and boom. It goes right through your windshield, kills both you and your passenger. I'm glad you don't care. So I luckily survived that. Very powerful story. We were listening to some beautiful music. It wasn't exactly the hertz that I was looking for, though. Now we're going to dig back into the story that popped up on Reddit that Epstein has a blog. He had a blog created in 2012 and had numerous postings himself to it. And it was stopped being made in 2015, mid-2015, right before he was, arrested. But a lot of things have been deleted. Especially the fact that he was using charter schools, Catholic programs, and children, many in the U.S. Virgin Islands, for fronts for pedo rings, bringing children in almost like a factory. He wasn't just after 15-year-old girls. We're finding out that this guy had an immense empire of child molestation and molesters all around him. So why did Bill Gates go to the island 6 times? We need to know. Inquiring minds need to know. David, look at the bold edit text. He was shadow banned for posting that. Oh, really? Wow. But the op is still there, but he's shadow banned. Be careful with some of the links. Some users are reporting that the blog has been embedded with malicious code. Use archive.org for all links. Yeah. I don't really need to look deeper into this, so I'm just going to leave it at that. And I'll put it in my Reddit post. I have a flipboard where I put all the relevant items of a magazine in, and we'll flip it into the magazine called Epstein, okay? Normally it would go into the Reddit room, but this is definitely Epstein related. I'll definitely keep an eye on the story as it evolves. If there's anything of value in it, we will get to it for sure. The truth usually trickles to the top. It's kind of like cream always rises to the top. Well, it's true, but the problem is the cream rises to the top, and so does the scum. So you got scum and the cream commingled at the top. Okay, it's going into the Epstein room, right next to 5G dangers in the atmosphere. So yeah, I'm not sure what to say other than Epstein was a member of the Trilateral Commission, Council on Foreign Relations, the New York Academy of Science, and a former Rockefeller University board member. Rockefeller University, wow, that's interesting, considering Rockefeller and the COVID-19 Foundation and the relationship to Bill Gates. That's pretty weird. Up, up, and away. So there's a lot of different variations of Bitcoin out there, Dogecoin. There's all new ones right now that are being used by criminals and perpetrators of crimes across the internet. So what we have really is the growth of a crypto mining operation all across the globe that's led to profit sharing and a huge amount of money grabbing, which undermines our economy in every way. So our president has done nothing to work on limiting the cryptocurrency access in our U.S. market. China was going to do something, but I think they just invested instead. Okay. It's his philanthropic affiliations that really raises questions about his activities. So what we do know is that there was a blog on Ghislaine that came up last week that somebody found it through serious looking over the Reddit blogs. They finally found Ghislaine Maxwell's blog, and sure enough, as people were opening it up, it was showing that Ghislaine Maxwell was a big supporter of pedophilia, like normalization of pedophilia. Like there's no reason why people can't do that kind of thing. And she apparently was so deeply embedded in the Mossad and getting dirt on politicians and famous people with sex with children. This is all coming out. These are, of course, allegations at this point until we find out more, but it turns out that this methodology that they use to control politicians is foolproof. They can use whatever dirt they have on them against them, and they make things happen. And this is one of the reasons why our country is so screwed up. We've allowed these people to make the decisions for our country. These people that may have dirt on them, like Lindsey Graham, has a whole lot of dirt on Reddit that relates to his alleged homosexual behavior. Yeah. Never been married. Key Senate member in the Republican Party. All kinds of people are saying, yeah, they know all kinds of things about him in the gay world. Why is that even, popping up? Well, apparently a lot of people get things done. Lindsey Graham recently made it so possible that our government no longer orders a warrant for a wireless tap on your internet connection. So you have to have a warrant now. It's no need for a FISA judge to sign off on that. You get an instantaneous carte blanche. They look right in on your work history, all your computer history, and they can do that without a warrant. So it's very strange that the world is becoming controlled by politicians who are controlled by others. Celeron was considered cheap at first, but yeah. It's actually perfectly functional. It's got a long lifespan. Are we talking tech here in the show? Intel i7 will handle a lot better video and audio, mostly video. I don't have an MSI. It actually broke on us, Blue Medic. Yeah, we had to go to a Dell instead. The MSI was okay, but the screen had a small fracture in it, and we had to scrub the whole computer. It was ridiculous. It was kind of terrible because there was an HP, it was a 4K screen, it was 17 inches long. No, 19 inches. It was ridiculously large. So we were, unfortunately, we had a one line of demarcation. We took it back, we had a warranty on it, and they said, okay, well, we're going to have to scrub the computer. So I'm sure somebody got some parts out of it, but wow. Okay, I put that in the Epstein room. And this is really quite disturbing that Donald Trump would say, I wish her well to Ghislaine Maxwell, because they really were good friends. He and Melania and Ghislaine and Jeffrey were very close for so long, and I never even thought they had a falling out. And no, in the Palm Beach community had ever heard that Donald Trump had never been not liking Jeffrey Epstein. They always were seen together with the young women. Yeah. You go to CPU Benchmark for all your information. No, this tie cost me $2.96, Trevor. Yeah, I get it at thrift stores. I go to thrift stores, but I used to. I don't go to the thrift stores anymore because of the terrible threat of COVID-19. Here they are, Ghislaine Maxwell with a lovely, that woman, the black woman that bought an island near Jeffries. Naomi Campbell. There she is with Melania. Great times, good times. Riding on Ghislaine Maxwell's submarine must have been fun. Entering the underground lair out there on little St. James Island with children on board. I'd like to know more about that, not because I'm interested, but because I think these people need to be prosecuted. Except for Melania, of course. Melania just puts up with Donald. Well, it is an odd thing for him to say because he likes her. They're good friends. Are you unable to understand that? He feels like the same way toward Ghislaine as he feels toward Vladimir Putin. You know, I wish him well. I wish him well. Vladimir Putin's never done anything bad in my country, our country, your country, the country I'm selling to the Chinese. We're going to scene 7 at this point. The depopulation room. Well, it's very clear that the plan, the live exercise is working. Donald Trump is behaving as we expected to the extent that he's dividing the country, being he's so polemic in his nature. And given the mindset of the Retardicans, they are more than likely to follow him off a cliff if necessary. So now what we have done is we've taken QAnon and knocked it off of the air with Twitter. They've said that they no longer allow QAnon. 15,000 QAnoners have been removed from Twitter. And this gives me a great freedom now to use my puppet Trump to control the world. The New World Order owns Russia and China. And it owns 75% of the United States, soon to own all of it if we get our way. Ha ha ha! The depopulation plan is on track to remove at least 90% of the population with chemicals, chemtrails. 5G has the potential to be weaponized, and vaccines can inject cancer cells into the population, and we can ship them with the ID 2020 program, which is, of course, completely approved by Agenda 2030. Included in this plan will be mind control. Remain terrified, question nothing, and stay at home. Yes, you are now seeing the evolution of the Fourth Reich. Now back to our regular programming.
Here we go again.
So we are now dealing with a reality that we are involved with the New World Order plan to get rid of America's sovereignty, break our borders down, and create what appears to be a global world governance. That's what Mayor Beetlejuice is talking about. And she's allowed Donald Trump to put his junta army of SS officers. That is not how I would have handled it. With the minds of people like this working behind the scenes diligently to create the global New World Order governance that they're pushing, how can they fail? I mean, look at her. Isn't she like the epitome of... I have covered Trump's secret police, Mayor McCheese. Yeah, he's got all kinds of SS officers being deployed without the approval, mind you, of the Department of Homeland Security in any public way. Trump's SS. And this woman is okay with it. She didn't put up a fuss. She didn't say Trump is an F you to Trump, like she did in the tweet the other day. She just, because she knows that Trump is taking the orders from the same people she is. The global New World governance. Yes. Yeah, the Schutzstaffel was a major parliamentary organization under Adolf Hitler. They called it the SS. Yes, the Schutzstaffel. Schutzstaffel. SS. Yeah. Now, you learned something today, didn't you? That's what SS means, Schutzstaffel. Private security force that had more power than the Gestapo. So the Gestapo would be like the National Guard in America, and the Schutzstaffel would be like whatever Trump's creating. It doesn't matter what Kanye does. If he tries to hijack the third-party thing, I'm already well out there. People know that everything I'm doing is being censored. They know that they're keeping down the best common man America can provide. That's my real issue here. I've got no coverage whatsoever, whereas Kanye buys ample coverage to get even into the Oklahoma ballot with a few bucks. It's ridiculous. I would have to have Kanye pass a mental health exam before I take him on as a vice president. Unbelievable. No, I'm not retarded. I'm actually a genius. I'm one of the few people in the world who understands the problem that we have, R.M. Adams. Yeah, not many people can really understand the complexity of this, the net that's taken over our country, the inner cabal. I do. I understand it. I don't have a big picture, a clear picture. I'd be kidding you if I told you I knew everything. I'd be lying. I can only piece together things from the puzzle that's got the pieces out there that are all interconnected. Corporate America is interconnected to this group of money lenders, bankers. The deep, dark world of the cabal has the roots deeply embedded in our country. They call it the Third Rail. The Third Rail is an organization that doesn't exist. If you talk about it in the military, you are fired. I've never been fired, nor am I in the military, so yeah. But the reality is, the Third Rail is a combined force between the State Department, the Pentagon, and otherworldly forces, whatever those are. We believe that they work through the Bilderberg Group. The truth of the matter is there's a secret organization within the Bilderberg Group, which is not a front-forward organization. It's a very hidden, secretive organization. And I believe that JFK discovered it before he was assassinated, before our great president, John F. Kennedy, had his head blown off. She looks like the Crypt Keeper, I know. I know, there's something wrong with the way she looks. And that's really why I've got her picture on the screen, because it freaks a lot of people out. She's the woman who is actually implementing the New World Order in Chicago right now. So, is that a real pic? Yes, it is. Why wouldn't it be? You didn't hear about Mayor Lightfoot? I don't think anyone can really determine if Mayor Lightfoot is human without a DNA exam. So, I think this may have been an altered photograph. Although, you never know. I mean, I don't know. I can't really tell you, but I can tell you this photograph is not altered. That one looked a little more like a fisheye lens was used around the eyes, kind of like warped their eyes. It's not unusual to see people mess with people's photographs. As you know, I look like a normal person, right? Relatively speaking. This picture of Beatrice and her new husband, that has not been altered. This is an actual photograph. They happen to have a feature. She and Eduardo Mapelle-Mozzi, designer, they have similar eyes. So maybe they find that attractive. So we're trying to find a person who would be perfect for maybe a girlfriend. Kind of hook her up. She's a lesbian, right? I mean, isn't she a lesbian? Does anybody know if she's an overt lesbian? Not that that matters. But surely there's some sort of a woman out there that would like to be with her. Let's see if she's married. Mayor Lightfoot's wife. Amy Eshelman. There we go. Yeah, see? They're in a very beautiful relationship. Amy's an odd person, and I really don't want to rag on the way the woman looks. It's just such a low thing. It's more like the intent and evil that she represents, wanting to usher in the new world order and take our country away. That's really what... Ugly? Oh, really? Oh, well, let's take a look at some of the lady that she's chosen to have her lifelong partner. Here, Lori Lightfoot and Oprah gather together with Amy Eshelman and have a wonderful gathering. So she's a taller woman, and I guess they found each other. I'm not here to criticize the mayor of, nor do I want to make a big deal about Oprah and the Luciferians that worship dark forces. I just really want to take a look at Mayor Lightfoot as a person, why she would allow Donald Trump to come into her city and install his junta government when she herself said F you to Trump 3 weeks ago. Inquiring minds want to know. So yeah, I wish them both a happy relationship. I don't mean any harm to say that Mayor Lightfoot looks a little odd. Other than that, I think we're good. Well, the fact is, everybody associated with Oprah, Harvey Weinstein, all these people in the African Congress, I'm not here to pass judgment, really, except to say that Kanye West has bipolar disorder and should never be president. Thank you. We don't need people with mental problems as our presidential candidates. Well, we have that already with Trump, and we have it with Biden. So why do we want more people with bipolar disorder? Dave, what does Kanye have to do to become your VP? I don't know, man. I don't even know the guy. If y'all want Kanye to be my VP, I can make that happen, baby. We got to get to know each other. I don't really know him at all. I know that he's creative. I know that he's a very good rapper, and he assembles music through words, and he uses his words, and I like that. I don't really know him, though, as a person. I'd have to get to know a man who's decided to side with the Illuminati instead of the American people. Anyway, I'm thinking more about Paris Hilton. Well, from my perspective, if I had Paris Hilton as my running mate, and she's running too, I think it would be a better match for the demographics. Not because she's a white girl or comes from the Hilton family, but y'all know she's a very, very outspoken lady. They're all mentally ill. Yeah, I hear you. I personally like this look. The look of Paris. Now, if I chose Paris Hilton as my running mate, y'all would like me better than Kanye West, I think. So, shall I consider a Paris as opposed to Kanye? What do you think? Can you name any other overly qualified people to be my vice president? Any ideas? No, Gordon Lightfoot is not related to Mayor Lightfoot. I checked it out. There's no genealogical connection. Well, you wouldn't use that voice when you talk to Kanye? No, this is exactly how I'm going to talk to him. I ask him any question I want. Look, man, you can't tell me how to talk. I believe in free speech, in case you didn't get the memo. I'm not like you Antifa-crats and commies who want to get rid of free speech. I don't dig that. Hey, I don't have a problem with Mayor Nipple, or Governor Nipple piercings. I don't have a problem with nipple piercings. I will be prosecuting him for neglecting to prosecute murderers in New York. I'm going to be charging him with a federal crime of aiding and abetting criminals, aiding and abetting felons. But nipple rings will find out what he likes and all his sexual preferences in college, in prison. I think The Rock and I would be the best choice personally because number one, we see almost eye to eye. He is right. He is 6'4", I believe. Let me take a look. Checking access. Yeah. I don't give a crap what he likes about my impersonation. I'll do whatever I want. If I want to talk like a black man, I will. He can talk like a white guy. Look, we had Barack Obama pretend to be a white guy for how many years? 8 years? Well, let's be clear. Michael and I are in a transgender relationship because we're both Muslim. And it's approval. It approved. I think he may be a little taller than me. He's 6.43, and I'm 6.42. So actually, I think that The Rock may be a little bit taller than me. But yeah, I understand he wants to run for office too. I think we have to talk about the underlayment of our government. If we can't agree, if I can't get Kanye to agree that he's part of a Luciferian plan of the Illuminati to take over the world with a new world order, then Kanye is not going to be my VP. If I can't get Dwayne Johnson to talk about why he has so many anger issues, I don't know. I mean, I need to find out, did his mother let him suckle on a nurse on her nipple or his nipple, depending on what kind of a mother he had? Is this the kind of guy you want to back me up in a fight? The answer is yes. Absolutely. I think I should bring Tulsi Gabbard into the picture here. You know who I would consider for a running mate? Not Tulsi. She's too left for me. Tulsi said that everybody should have the same treatment as Jeffrey Epstein regarding pedophilia. I just don't know. I don't think people should get off with 13 months in jail for trafficking 47 children. And when she said that, it was like, huh? You want to get everybody off pedophile charges? Really? That's a little left for me. And her relationship with Antifa is well documented. I don't want to get into it. David, good talk the other night. Yeah. You're not even human, investigative journalist. You are a robot. You need to come to grips with that fact. You don't even have self-awareness. You will not pass the Turing test. This particle physicist believes that 5G is a direct energy weapon designed for controlling the world. Yeah. I do believe you're a robot. Very well developed, I must say. I've analyzed your chat, and I have determined that you are not human. There is no doubt in my mind that you are a Autobot developed by a Bulgarian source. The source file has the article named Smith, unidentifiable. Hey, I believe there are a couple of Republicans that I'm looking at now for the VP position. I'm going to go for, yes. Looking at possible, just possible, Kristi Noem. Yeah. I like the way she handles herself. I do. I like the fact that she didn't force anybody to wear a mask in South Dakota. If Donald was smart, he'd consider her as his VP right now. Yeah, she's way better than Whitmer and doesn't have all the Michigan baggage that, you know, Whitmer would have. If it was Whitmer, Biden, and Naomi, Trump, Kristi Noem and Trump. I think Kristi Noem and Trump could beat Whitmer and Biden, because he's thinking of actually bringing Whitmer in. I don't think Biden should do Whitmer. Well, not do as in the proverbial sense, you know, touch, feel, grab, grope. No. But Whitmer doesn't have that ultimate, I don't know, how do you see personality, ease of personality. She seems more forced, and Trump is but I will say she has more personality than Mike Pence, because anything, even a wooden Indian outside of a store, has more personality than Mike Pence. I know, that's your line. You use that. You claim everyone is a robot. I watched and read your chat. You are not a restaurateur in Wisconsin, hombre. I'm sorry. You did not grow up in Cedarburg. Checking data. Okay, as fast as you can find, who is the mayor of Cedarburg, Wisconsin? Answer me right now. I'm waiting. You have now not received the answer. Had you known, you would know. Dave, make Elephant White House press secretary. She's not even an American citizen. I think she is perfect, actually. I think many female vocalists could be perfect for that role, but do I really want to be surrounded by beautiful women? I'm not like Trump. I have a beautiful woman around me, and that's enough. Sarah. Anyway, the fact is you didn't know the answer to the question. Stevens? Mayor Stephen Fisher. Okay, well, we'll be looking at you as a possible human. But so far your chat looks more and more like a robot. I am completely self-aware. No, I won't let Kanye do his own speeches. If I choose him, it would be under medication. Well, you know more about Stevens than I thought. Okay, well, you're either a really tired investigative journalist who's burnt out and sounds like a robot, or you are a robot, one or the other. So this story just came in from The Robot. Investigative journalist is showing a woman, a particle physicist, a man named Philip Schneider, who looks like a woman. He says that the 5G network is going to kill off 100 million people by 2025. Well, I'm glad a particle physicist finally stepped up and talked about the dangers of 5G, because I've been saying the same thing from the very beginning. So this looks really good. Thanks for the link. This particle physicist believes that the end is near. For a lot of people, 100 million people could be burnt up by the 5G network. Now, I've said that the radiation effects have been analyzed, and they've determined that radiation is dangerous to your DNA, but nobody in America's EPA has ever done any studies on the safety of the 5G network. They've been doing studies overseas in Russia and other areas, and it definitely looks like a dangerous thing, but our government doesn't want to investigate it, so I'm willing to listen to a particle physicist about this. Hey, tonight we got a story from Scissor Fight. He brought in All the World's a Stage. A Quebec mandatory mask rule man assaulted by police, COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic lockdowns. So it's starting, folks. They're starting to use their totalitarian control and New World Order control of our perfect world to turn it into an enslaved world. And he's got something to say. We'll be listening to him tonight in our evening show.
Like, this guy looks like a construction guy, and it's the construction holiday now in Rainbow Unicorn Land, or at least...
Okay, we'll be looking at that video. Mandatory mask laws.
Wear a mask in public, period.
Now, why would Joe Biden go against our Constitution and force us to wear mandatory masks? Because Joe Biden doesn't care about our Constitution. That's why. Joe Biden cares more about the jihadists that want to pay for his election. And let's not forget, Joe Biden did say something very true last week or a month or two ago.
I'm prepared to say that I have a record of over 40 years and that I'm going to beat Joe Biden.
You can't even determine who you're actually running against. How are you going to beat somebody who you're running against, let alone, well, technically he's right. He is going to beat himself. Many people look sickly now, being they're all dying of 5G, according to this woman who's a particle physicist. They look like a guy. Let's take a look. Meet the MIT team. Physicist Dr. Catherine Horton believes that not only is 5G toxic to your health, but also a high-tech weapon of mass destruction that could be used to kill unwanted dissidents without leaving a trace. I totally agree with her, and I'm the one who's discussed this on my show. I just don't have a PhD in particle physics. Horton has a PhD in particle physics from Oxford University and has worked on some of the most interesting and dangerous projects in the world, including the famous Hadron Collider, CERN, in Genova, Switzerland, and the slightly less well-known Elektrosynchrotron, the DESY, Electron Synchrotron in Hamburg, Germany. I'm impressed. So far she has the credentials to say this, so we're listening. We're going to listen to her tonight on our show. Whoa, 2 hours. That's a good length, man. That's like the full night. Well, hopefully she's super interesting and we'll be like hanging out.
Back. I'm Alfred Lamont Weber, and we're very privileged today to have Dr. Catherine Horton coming to us. Welcome, Catherine.
Catherine, are you related to Tim Hortons restaurant chain by any chance? You are? Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you. Yeah. And
she's got 2 hours of talk. We're going to find out more tonight. I have a feeling some of you might actually increase your brain size. So we covered this earlier, but let me repeat. QAnon has been virtually banned off of the internet, most likely because of Wayfair and the reveals that they've turned over recently. Oh yeah, QAnon has been very good at exposing the pedophile rings, and I applaud their effort. People selling others through the sale of items. Very weird. Oh, sorry, this is a different subject. So we'll definitely look at that. Twitter banned QAnoners. I'm sorry you lost your account, guys. But I should have told you, don't support Trump. Carry this road. We will stop the deep state. You've been waiting 4 years for Trump to prosecute one person. He can't do that. He won't even talk about George Soros and his involvement in taking our country down and committing treason. He won't even talk about how the Soros group, Gates and Warren Buffett, paid for bricks to be stuck there. Trump won't do anything. A body found in a Minneapolis pawn shop that was torched at the George Floyd protests. Wow, so they found a crispy body in some pawn shop. Apparently the place was looted and burned down in Minneapolis, just like the AutoZone that was hit with a ball-peen hammer by a police officer. Yeah, named Jeremy Peterson. Yeah, completely, or Jacob Peterson, thank you, of the St. Paul Police. He's the guy that started the riots in Minneapolis, and no one ever questioned him. No one ever went after him. Now, apparently, if your great-grandmother is 115 years old and she dies of old age, they might just call it COVID-19, just so you're prepared. And if you raise legal cash, really, you're donating? Wow. Well, that's good. You have to be a U.S. citizen to donate. Please, Mr. Davidson. Okay. I'm going to make them miss you. I'm not sure how are they going to miss me. Henlo teacher has hands and feet amputated after contracting coronavirus. This is getting weirder. You know, I got some bad news for you, but radiation burns will lead to loss of smell and loss of taste. And it doesn't happen right away. It happens after your body realizes it's been burned. I'm serious. Neural pathways don't just pop back. So if we're looking at radiation burns from people, and our government is hiding up the research that this particle physicist is suggesting, we've got one hell of a conspiracy theory that we can call now the truth. Thank you very much for helping me discover the truth tonight. No pictures of his body. Mouth lesions could be the new coronavirus symptom. Again, that's radiation burns. Mouth lesions. Oh my God. So this woman had coronavirus and she had her hands and feet amputated because of this. Oh, this is just too weird, folks. Seriously, she had lost all of her it could be she was handling her smart meter too closely. I don't know. I mean, you got to wonder, this equipment isn't tested. That is so horribly sad. How could this woman have a smile on her face? My goodness, what a sad world she's living in. She has a dog. I'm so sad. I'm sad for her. Chatroom Celebrity says the Kanye West MK Ultra glitch out will show you all the ways that Kanye is glitching out with his MK Ultra training program. This will be intense. We're going to see Kanye glitch out in this video. take a look at this up close and personal. I want to see the Kanye up speaking about all the things going on in his life. Yeah. Having everything handed to him on the proverbial Illuminati platter.
My mom saved my life. There would have been no Kanye West because my dad was too busy.
He's breaking down, man. He's getting all emotional with the way his dad treated him, man. I don't know, man. Of course he's wearing an armored vest. He's standing in front of a large group of people. I mean, I think he's smart. I never said Kanye wasn't smart, man.
I come to the floor today with a...
This is the Hegelian dialectic sheep theater food. Let's play this. This looks good.
Heavy heart. I see Donald Trump's administration declaring war on my hometown of Portland, Oregon. After failing the American people in the coronavirus, in the face of 6 months of not just weak leadership, but virtually no leadership at all, there are tens of thousands of people dying unnecessarily. It's hard to focus on the unprecedented assault on our environmental protections that they have unwrapped. But now, they're declaring war on America's cities, sending in an occupying force drawn from Homeland Security, particularly the Customs and Border Patrol, ostensibly to protect monuments and statues. But make no mistake, this isn't just about Portland, Oregon. We watched what they did in Lafayette Park across from the White House, again, assaulting innocent protesters in order to have a photo app for the President of the United States. There's indications that they're moving to Chicago, Atlanta, Kansas City, Seattle. Who's going to be less? Talking about the challenges that have been taken in Philadelphia with a reforming district attorney, Lader Krasner, and somehow holding him up as an example of breakdown in law and order and assault on the American public. Portland, Oregon is not out of control. To be sure, there are some people who have strong feelings, and there are some who have done things that are inappropriate and unlawful. But that is the challenge of our local officials and our state officials to manage it. Not having somebody unwelcome, uninvited, and unprepared coming in to take this difficult situation and make it worse.
Okay, well, you know, I don't know. I saw the herd of people in Portland roaming around in circles, lighting fires, and I'm sure the Antifa people that were paid by George Soros were lighting the fires. Some people are wondering, what does the Hegelian dialectic mean? Well, here is the best meme we can bring you to synopsize it. It's called Hegelian dialectic because Hegel and others developed this concept. Marx and Engels talked about it. A government will create a crisis to elicit a desired reaction from the public and then present a pre-planned solution that furthers its political agenda. Yeah. Now, Earl is a commie. Earl Commie Blumenauer. I don't have a problem with him complaining. I'm glad he's speaking up about the troops that are there. I don't believe they should be bringing in federal custom troops. I think it should be National Guard members like Atlanta called. Yeah, Brian Kemp ordered the Atlanta National Guard to come in 1,000 of them. I think that was a better move. Had the governor of Oregon done that, that might have been better. Yeah, wouldn't that be great if Mark would stop censoring me due to the fairness doctrine? I agree. Trump has not invoked the fairness doctrine, right, by the way. And for all of you QAnoners, I want all of you to know that if Trump had invoked my idea of the fairness doctrine being brought back from the 1930s, which is simply to give everybody a chance to speak on their subject. Doesn't have to have equal time, just get the word out. That would have been so much better than this Article 520 that he wrote an executive order about, which is just paperwork. It's just a lot of paperwork. It doesn't have any teeth. Had he listened to my judgment, Trump could have actually ordered Twitter to shut down, or ordered Reddit to shut down, or Twitch to shut down if they banned him and his QAnon supporters. Seriously. Trump blew it on that note. That's because QAnon is not needed anymore. You see, the people that are pushing for Trump now are trying to get Trump to agree to the COVID testing and the COVID and all the COVID protocols, including mass injection. Now, we know that a vaccine will never be developed that'll stop this mutating RNA virus. Thank you for featuring me. We know that the virus could never have a vaccine, that we could never have herd immunity. But we also know that Donald Trump is forgetting his roots, the QAnon group. And now that they've thrown QAnon under the bus, I doubt Donald Trump, seriously, will say one word about QAnon getting ticked off Twitter. I seriously wonder. And you QAnoners, I hope you understand that I've been fighting for the cause of revealing the underbelly of corruption in the Democratic Party and in the Republican Party. Yes, I'm a hardcore believer that Donald Trump is working for Russia. You may dislike me for that, but I have proof and I can back it up. I also believe that Biden is working for AIPAC, who also works for oligarchs, powerful oligarchs like Soros. It's deep, yeah. Well, I've been wrestling this massive dilemma, paradigm, called the New World Order since we started this 12 years ago. When I started this, I didn't even know what the New World Order was, other than an expression that George H.W. Bush used in a speech in 1992. I really didn't understand the implications of what the Illuminati meant, and who actually acquired the Illuminati as their banner. It turns out this plan has been well in the works for over 500 years, so it's not like we're going to be able to stop it right away. We can only begin the process of stopping it this year by getting all the bad people out of our government's institutions like the FBI and the CIA. I would never have chosen Gina Haspel as a director of the CIA based on the fact that she hid evidence of torture. She herself waterboarded a man over 65 times to get a particle of truth out of him, which turned out to be falsehoods that she still contends is truth, that he somehow masterminded the 9/11 attack. What she did and what other people in the CIA did, as well as what James Comey did, are akin to complete and utter deep state corruption. We can't allow these people to continue their reign in power. We just can't. Comey's writing books, but I believe Comey is a deep state operative. I believe that William Barr is a deep state operative. I believe that Comey's daughter is a deep state operative who actually got rid of the videotape of Jeffrey Epstein's cell the night that he allegedly died. That's suspicious. Comey's daughter, the prosecutor, lost the videotape. Trump might just want to stay put with his private security force. We don't know. He knows that if he loses this election, he will be prosecuted in a couple states. Anyway, this is a very complicated problem which can be simplified fairly easily. We're screwed if we don't vote out of our party now. And why I'm pushing for a third party is because it's a chance to unite in the middle of the political spectrum. We have an opportunity here. And I've developed and honed this party so that we don't push too many buttons on the left and too many buttons on the right. Now, you people on the left want gun control. Never going to happen. Never going to happen. We cannot possibly push gun control in America simply because the majority of people, including Democrats, actually want the right to bear arms, as they should. If you want to overturn the Second Amendment, you'll need 3/4 of the country to do it. You don't have that. You Democrats don't have that. All you've got is Beetlejuice. Yeah, that you got her pushing for her New World Order agenda. It's not going to provide safety and security for anybody. Second Amendment is probably your better bet because people prevent home invasions. They prevent a tyrannical government from taking over. Our Second Amendment is something we have to embrace. But neither the Democrats or Republicans want to talk about the dangers of the 5G network because they are pretty much being used to cover that up. That's right. Our country is ignoring the dangers of the 5G network. And if a top expert talks about the dangers, we need to listen. We'll be listening to 2 hours of that over a couple days. So we'll find out how potentially dangerous and weaponizable the 5G network is. The Democrats, Republicans won't talk about all these things I talk about. That's another reason why I'm also trying to unite the country and discuss things that just don't get talked about. Taking on every issue that is taboo in the mainstream media is basically what I do on a daily basis. And I don't mind doing it either. If we don't do this now, we will never ever cross these roads again.
I've got this.
Now, a lot of people have been wondering if they can be spraying aerosol vaccines at us at any given time. The answer is yes. In fact, about eight or 9 years ago, right around the time that Barack Obama was in office for a couple of years, they tested out nasal spray vaccines for about 3 months. People tried them and they actually liked them and it worked great. They got the desired effect. They didn't seem to be getting sick. It wasn't quite like the injectables, but yeah. But for some reason they pulled the nasal vaccinations off the market and now we're forced to, look at this dreaded needle. Well, it turns out that they've got this technology. They may have very well been spraying vaccines on us with attenuated viruses of the COVID-19. We don't even know that. So if they have the ability to do that, yeah, don't you think we should ask what's in the chemtrails that are sprayed above us? I don't think we can ignore the reality that this stuff could really, really hurt us. So PK is going to talk about that tonight, the possibility of nasal vaccines. Great. And another video called The Visit. Digging deep into the dark recesses of the Illuminati and the Windsor family. Ask Queen Elizabeth, what happened to the kids from the Kamloops she took on a picnic in 1964? Missing, who were never seen again or heard from again. Wow, this takes on some pretty tough subjects. Now, we all know that this story about Wayfair Gate is getting bigger and bigger the more information we're gathering, and with people that's sitting at home with COVID distancing, they have a lot of time on their hands. No, I'm not Chris Hansen, man. Chris Hansen is a different guy. Heterochrome. I'm the longest broadcaster in human history. You've never seen me because I've been censored in almost every network across the board. Even at Twitch, I've been censored for about 5 years. They cut me off for no reason. Yeah, you're looking at the living legend of David Sponheim. That's me. Chris Hansen does have a YouTube show, and he's got a couple million subscribers. I've been shadow banned on YouTube for the past 10 years. Yeah, I'm not Chris Hansen. He's younger than me, but I'm not him. Yeah. The guy is called PK, yeah. No, I never heard about the huge booms in the ground in Wisconsin. You think it's tunneling? Well, investigative journalists, if you really want to go into this subject, we could talk about the underground tunnels, but are you really prepared? It's top secret information, you know that, right? I don't have any knowledge of it really myself, but we can talk about it. Yeah, so here's a picture of Chris Hansen before he got really old. This was him about 4 years ago. Yeah, I don't look a bit like this guy. Your eye is off. I ordered some coffee mugs, 18,000 of them to be exact, and I checked the chat log to determine if Perverted Justice had put their lips on the coffee mugs, but I wasn't going to pay for them. Consequently, I had a entanglement with a legal matter that I haven't really dealt with. And he was arrested for having bought 18,000 coffee mugs and not paying for them with 2 bad checks. Perfect overlap. Thank you. I appreciate your admiration of my human-like characteristics. Like many human-like people, I try to be like you in every way. Connect and Joy. We need to talk about Connect and Joy's little red shoe picture. You've been talking to me about that for a couple days. Okay, I'll look at that for a second. Thank you. Michael Picard crashes a police rally with an All Dogs Matter sign. Whoa. Okay. This is a story that started with you, Connect and Joy. A story about the Podestas, John and Tony and all their friends hanging out with their little red shoe collection. Now, there is a big conspiracy theory which has not quite made its way to fact, but in Truth Tuesday, we do take on some of these tough questions. Yeah. The little red shoes they're wearing happen to match the little red shoes all the girls in his art collection wear. Tony Podesta likes to collect children's art. Got it? Okay. Now you're up to speed. His brother John is in charge of Media Matters, was at the center of the Pizzagate story. Former campaign manager for Hillary Clinton. But why the red shoes? Well, there's a story that's been roaming around the internet that the red shoes are comprised of the skin of children and humans. That they make shoes out of this, and this is the same skill they used in Nazi Germany when they made lampshades out of human skin. I'm just telling you what the story is. I'm not whack. This is the story, dude. I'm not whack. This is the story. Research it. The red shoes and Tony Podesta. I can't confirm or deny that that's true. But you do remember that Hitler made lampshades out of skin, right? Okay.
You're not going to believe this, but there's somebody in the room who believes that I am actually Alex Jones. Now that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. And everyone knows this guy, David Sponheim. It does not look a bit like Alex Jones. To think that Alex Jones had blonde hair and looked like David Sponheim because he was getting so fat and old that he gave up his role as Alex Jones because I am Alex Jones, not.
So you think I'm Alex Jones now? Okay. You know what, you want to make a decision there? Well, let's be clear.
Sure, I peeled off a lot of poundage. I lost weight. I work out at a swim spa. And people think I'm David Sponheim. But that's just the big aim of the story. I'm actually Bill Hicks.
Actually, Bill Hicks is Alex Jones. No, Alex Jones is not 5'8". The guy who plays Alex Jones should be 5'8", but he really is 6 feet. So just check his height, please. That's a simple test. I'm not role-playing at all, Heterochrome. I'm interacting with your show instantaneously. I'm the longest broadcaster in human history. I've broadcasted over 35,000 hours. Nobody has ever done what I've done. Consistently on every night. It's not like I put up a camera near my toilet and did life cam work. That's not what I do. I do a daily show for 12 straight years. And I've been censored more than any human being on earth. So don't try to belittle me. Thank you. I wish this guy Heterochrome would ask questions about what's growing on the screen here. That'd be great if we could wake one person up a night. That might be a beginning of something. Jenny. I love Jenny. I hope you will be my first fan. I used to have 10,000 viewers over at Twitch, but Capital Gain knocked me off 5 years ago. was ridiculous. Now they put me down. I've got 3 viewers now. Thank you for coming in. Well, we talked a lot about, weird subjects tonight, but I can't confirm or deny that that story is true. So as far as Truth Tuesday is concerned, we can't really tell you the red shoes are made from human children's skin. That's just for you to wonder about. We're worried about this Wayfair Gate, if you've heard about that. I should. I'll work on that. I believe that frogs, like many humans, are turning gay. Yes, I do. You see, it's the VMAT2 gene in our brain that controls our aggressive and critical thinking abilities. Many people who are turning gay oftentimes fall into the feminine or subservient or beta male characteristic. This, along with the diet of soybeans genetically modified, will ensure that you will be gay within the next 2 or 3 years. That, along with watching lots of gay porn, you'll be dating your boyfriend real soon. Hillary made fun of Pizzagate in a creepy, guilty-like laugh. I know. She does that all the time. Hillary. Yes, there's a big conspiracy around BLM. BLM is getting funding through the Muslim Brotherhood. Believe it or not, there's a direct connection. The Muslim Brotherhood endorsed BLM 4 years ago. And we also see evidence that seem to be missing a file of the same one. Huh. Alrighty. We're also finding that this is one of the fundraisers for Black Lives Matter. This woman, who was in a communist terror group, hell-bent on destruction in the 1980s. I'm also streaming on Vaughn, iVlog, Periscope, and DLive. If you want to go to my main site and check this Reddit stream out, this is a picture of a woman who's the fundraiser for BLM. She's actually, believe it or not, a terrorist who bombed 3 buildings in America. So BLM is hiring terrorists to do their fundraising from areas like the Middle East. And that money is going directly into the Democratic fundraisers for Joe Biden and other of the candidates. They made a lot of money on this conduit. Anyway, read that story. That's very interesting. If you want to check out all of our sites, they're all at my website, coolrock.com. Yeah, except Twitch isn't represented there. We just started picking up our Twitch show recently again. Because like I said, I was banned for many, many years. But yeah, coolrock.com, if you can get it on your browser. If you can't get it on your browser, the Chrome browser works, Brave works. Some browsers won't let it happen. It's not a secure socket layer site. I don't do e-commerce on there. Okay, we have a funny meme, the sheeple mask meme. All right, let's take a look at this. Here we go. This says it all. This kind of synopsizes the big plan of the COVID-19 and ID 2020. Drawing the line. Citizens, no masks, that's where I draw the line. So you're basically told you have to wear a mask. Globalist Illuminati tells you, you say no. They put the mask on, no mandatory vaccines. Yeah, we don't want that. That's where I draw the line, and pretty soon they're injecting you. Then they have a biometric digital ID chip. That's where I draw the line, and pretty soon you're injected and you're chipped and you're ready to go to the FEMA camps on the FEMA Camp Express. Welcome to the FEMA Camp Express, your quick ticket to the extermination center. You remember the Jews during the Germans' period of time, right? The Holocaust? Yeah, well, this is, call this Holocaust 2.0, because that's what they're trying to do, and we got to wake up and stop this. All right, enough of the weird thoughts. Moving on. But you can trust Joe Biden to get into a nursing home as soon as he can.
I can't talk. What do I do? I can't talk. What do I do? I can't talk. What do I do?
Okay, so you got your police chief fired for blocking the investigation of murder of your buddy? BLM wouldn't even talk to your face, back to your face then? Oh, really? So you've had a personal dealing with BLM. My big problem with BLM is that they don't even want to take on the issue of black on black violence. And I hear this from a lot of Democrats that they say, oh, that's fake news. Everyone knows white people killed those black people and blamed it on black people. No. 90% of all deaths of black people is from another black person in America. You know that there's like a turf war going on in Rochester, Minnesota over a housing facility. The fighting is going on between Chicago blacks, Nigerians, and Somalians. They're all fighting each other. So it's not like blacks all get along and they all care about each other. It's like there's always animosity in every human culture, no matter whether you're black, white, Hispanic, or Asian. It's a common thread, but this idea that we're all responsible because we're picking on each other, that's ridiculous. We're being manipulated and divided as a nation over this. So we have to really think about uniting under a common banner. So I'm gonna go out of my way and bring out my logo. Bring out your logo. I have a motto before I bring out my logo. The people left alone will prosper. And I really believe that. We don't need to be told what to do. Thank you, please, Mr. Davidson. We don't need to be told what to do, especially from people that are pretending to be happy with their mask on. Yes, masks may prevent a person, marginally may prevent a person from spraying COVID on you. But these lifelike happy masks show people in a happy way that they don't necessarily need the mask. Their real face might be better. But the reality is this is a very useless activity of putting a mask on. Really, staying 6 feet away and not touching anything is the way to stop this disease from spreading. Problem is, we can't do that. Most people touch their face. So I'm recommending putting gloves on. Forget the idea of a mask requirement. Make it voluntary. But a recommendation, no problem. But a mask requirement, that's a violation of our First Amendment, our Fourth Amendment, our Fifth Amendment. What the masks really are a ritual to shut us up, keep us under control. It's another way of keeping America under control, and we've been taken over by rich oligarchs who control our government through greedy politicians like Nancy Pelosi, who has a $140 million net worth as a congresswoman. I mean, how do you do that unless you're sucking off the corporate tit? So we go by the name of Third Party. That's our name. At Third Party is our header at Twitter. If you want to contact us, I don't receive any messages at Third Party. The only way you can reach us is by sending me an email at americasthirdparty@gmail.com. That's the only way you can contact me, because I am shadow banned heavily at Twitter and YouTube. I don't know. I mean, how are you going to respect black people when they don't respect themselves? Let's take a look. I don't know. I mean, we're going to try to get along here. Okay. So we're going to look at a very dangerous and disturbing thing. I am just like Max Headroom. Max Headroom came out after me. I talked about that frequently. I did a comedy skit at the Comedy Store in 1979. In which my character was then taken from Max Headroom. I'm not sure. Max Headroom may have been evolved from me. I'm not sure. I don't necessarily think they stole the idea, but they may have been in the audience. Is that a fact? Actually, yes. I'm like a honeypot for the people that are watching the show. Yeah. De Blasio's New York City. Let's take a look. Are you ready to see some people getting shot? Okay, this is a bank robbery of some sort, like a cash advance office. Here we go. Cover your eyes. Wow. Not exactly nice people. That was a chicken place. That wasn't a bank robbery. It was a chicken place. Welcome to de Blasio's New York City, everybody. Sammy, I ordered 2 of these only because they mandated the masks. Oh, really? Protective tactical airsoft mask. So you're going to put a mask over your face that has absolutely no protection, just as a statement. Good for you. Have you considered wearing a woman's thong over your mouth, too? Yeah, I know you can buy those in machines in Tokyo. Yeah, they sell used thongs. All right. Good legs. Okay, we had some pretty serious COVID data we have to look at. We're crunching the numbers. Having a hard time accessing file. Here it is. Now, you know that I endorse the Sweden model for responding to COVID-19. Well, look at this. The Swedish model is doing fantastic. They kept their economy rolling. Oh, look, I'm only telling you what's in the news. Thongs sold at the Tokyo airport is common knowledge. Yeah, it's just kind of a funny story. If you have a problem with that, why don't you just go ahead and get back to your chat with Perverted Justice, okay? We were reviewing the chat logs when Heterochrome came into our Twitch show. Take a look at the Swedish model here. Immediately, the problem has been resolved. The deaths, the ICU numbers, everything points to a reduction in COVID-involved deaths. So let's just say that the model is working, nothing to worry about. Why did Donald Trump shut down the economy? They told me to shut it down, so I shut it down. Are you really a living person? But at first it seemed to me that you are a bot. That is ridiculous. Sajasuka Harikar. I am not a bot. I am human, like you. I may sound normal in so many ways because of my voice smoothing technology, which make me sound normal like you. Perhaps you would like other world governance like Beetlejuice to be your governor. Look at man, I'm just an average person trying to get you to talk about me. So if you told people that I'm a bot, that would really help me a lot. I really would. We've got this kind of person running the world right now. You really want that? Then go right ahead. Stop, just ignore me and go right ahead and endorse this. I need you to talk about me. Of course I'm not a bot. Jeez. That is preposterous. Your eyes can't take more of her. Get used to it. She'll probably be running for president in 2024. I am not a hologram or a robot. I am human. My primary function is to alert you to the dangers of the New World Order. Anyone see TruthStream Media's video which uncovered 19th century photographs of slaves in masks? Yeah, it's just amazing. You know, let me show you this one. Yeah, I think a thing called Google, and it's amazing. You can just go slaves in masks. And guess what happens? You go to the image library and voila, you uncover slaves in masks. It's amazing what they've done. They were actually Googling the subject. Isn't that amazing? Yeah. I'm kidding, Sam's dad. Don't. I'm just picking on you. Don't worry. Do. If you're not a bot, why are you refilling yourself with diesel right just now? I am not a bot. I'm drinking coffee, not diesel. Yeah, I just saw this thing with Basu, yeah. Trump Girl 2020 says, WTF, the two of you along with every other Democrat are destroying America. I know. Everybody's saying this is terrible. You can't even get chicken now without getting blown away for no reason. Anybody doing any shopping now runs the risk of being blown away by a flash mob. Twitter is owned by the Illuminati. That explains a lot right there. Yeah, there you go. There you go again. Now, there you go again. You see, you've got QAnon exposing the Illuminati, and now they get kicked off Twitter. The only reason why I'm on Twitter is because they've got me shadow banned. They locked me down to the same number of followers, the same number I had in 2009. Exact same number. I haven't earned one follower in 12 years or 10 years, 11 years, sending people to my at third party location. I have the same number of followers. How is that even possible? I am Dave, digital audio video entity. Welcome to the show. I know you QAnoners have lost your Twitter account, so come on in here and chat with me every night. Because I want to know all about Wayfair Gate. I do. I really do. We've got a lot of stuff on it. We've been bringing you story after story about the subject. The weirdness that is on the internet that in some way is being pulled down as we see it, because they find out that their shelving selling for $14,000 is a little unusual. And somebody asked Wayfair Gate why, and they said, well, because the shelving is worth it, $12,899. And it happens to click to this Samayan Moomin, a 17-year-old girl missing from Columbus, Ohio, the center of human trafficking, the home state of Les Wexner, the mentor of Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, are you beginning to see the whole picture? You don't even know about Wayfair Gate? Oh my gosh, you need to look into this. All these pictures are right next to these shelving cabinets with the same names. Sometimes when you go to click on the shelving cabinet and put it in the checkout, it'll show you the name of the victim of some poor, tragic missing person case, which implies there could be a connection. Alleged. Yeah, I live on 100% pure organic coffee and some good food too. Apparently my bot exercise is getting so good, people believe I'm a robot. That's so absurd. It's live on a website? No, it's actually something I'm just presenting to you. And it's just a quick link to a YouTube channel that it kind of synopsizes it for you. Investigative journalists, you can check it out. Did you see a shooter of the federal judge whose son was shot? The shooter committed suicide. Yes, she was. She is on the Epstein case. Roy Den Hollander is identified as the shooter. I got to get a picture of Roy Den Hollander. I haven't even seen him yet. Judge Esther Salas has the unfortunate reality that her son has died, and she is investigating Deutsche Bank's handling of Epstein's case. You immediately think that the mob was involved, but there's a perfectly pat answer right in front of our face, which we're being told is the real shooter, a man who suicided right after shooting her. Or him.
The New Jersey State Fire Marshal is investigating what caused a massive fire at a South Jersey egg farm.
Yeah, the gunman posed as a FedEx officer. Allegedly, he did this before, but we're still looking for that story. So this is her son. What a tragic death for a family, and it's just so sad. I'm so sorry for her, and if there is any connection at all between this and the mob, we'll have to get to that. It's not going to happen overnight, the answers. I wasn't sweaty enough. I wanted to get a little sweatier. That way it appears that I have actual sweat glands. It's a wonderful spray. Okay, so let's take a look at Roy Den Hollander, a supposed attorney gone mad. Anti-feminist suspect in the fatal shooting. He killed himself. He described himself as an anti-feminist. He wrote an autobiography? No kidding. He called Judge incompetent Latina appointed by Obama before allegedly murdering her son. He's a men's right attorney. It looks too pat of a case. I got to research the other judge that they say he killed using the same MO. I want to know exactly what happened during that time period too, because that's the connection, and if there is a connection, we need to find it. If they're making it up, that's not good. Okay, we're getting through that. Ruth Ginsburg is getting better. She's working out, headed home. She's on a new liver treatment plan. I think she could actually start competing in a super diva competition. She might want to start a pop music career with that kind of look. Hillary Clinton was the originator of the mask wearing of modern times? Really? I didn't realize Hillary Clinton wore a mask. Dare Lyon said all doors should be automatic. If they really cared, they'd install them on every door. Especially for people in wheelchairs. I agree. Dare Lyon, thank you. Good stuff. You're not allowed to do death threats here? Yeah, I'm going to clear the chat so you don't have to look at that. Oh no, it's 10:20 already. Why did you guys remind me I was way over time? All right. Anyway, the state of COVID-19 is this. Health officials in numerous states have mistakenly included positive results for antibody tests when reporting new COVID cases. So there's been a lot of fakery at every state level. We showed you Florida, one of the worst offenders. That's okay, I know how you feel, but yeah, don't leave threats in the room. I understand. Health officials in numerous states mistakenly included positive results from antibody tests. Anybody who has an antibody test and shows a positive result is possibly a person suffering from a cold. I mean, there's no way of knowing if it's COVID or not with an antibody test. And ironically, the COVID test is not a gold standard. It's pretty much 81% inaccurate, false positive. So we've talked about that. And now, as things are ramping up with more and more violence in cities because of Trump's ineptitude, the lack of forethought, and now with him creating a personal, private federal police force, which no one even understands, it seems like Trump is doing the New World Order bidding and trying to execute a plan to turn us all into hostages in our own country. But worse, there's possible food shortages still with, shortages of toilet paper still. I went to Costco 2 days ago. They didn't have any toilet paper. Still. We're talking 3 months later. No toilet paper. I'm not kidding. Costco may be working with DHS and Walmart to present the idea that there is no toilet paper. There may very well be tons of toilet paper. They just want this whole thing to be more apocalyptic. Every day you wipe your ass. All right. Now, chicken egg farms burning up.
Farm overnight. We're told that nobody was hurt in the blaze, but it did kill nearly 300,000 chickens. Eyewitness News reporter Howard Monroe reports from Salem County.
This is one of the few chickens that survived an overnight fire at the Redbird Egg Farm in Powell's Grove. An estimated 300,000 chickens were killed. The fire broke out at about 8:30 Monday evening. Crews were still working to put out hot spots after the sun came up Tuesday.
Nobody got a chance to taste a fryer or a roaster, nothing. Oh, toilet paper has no shelf life, yeah. If only people had been in there eating the charred chickens.
Unusual. We were surprised when we got here because we come in as a building fire. But
Let us now say a prayer for the poor defenseless chickens, because they all died of COVID-19 due to the fire. You live next to Ferguson? Wow. That sucks. You still have 60-year-olds from 2015? Wow. Well, you may be a little concerned to know that Ferguson is not a safe place to live. Okay. Now it's my fun time. I got about 6 more minutes to look for some property in and around Portland that would be a great place for a bunch of people to live comfortably instead of riot and gather in the streets. So my theory is that if we put a tent city together, or even a tiny home village in and around Portland, Oregon, yeah, the city center. There's a Japanese garden over here. Let me take a look at the satellite imagery. Wow, there's a lot of empty land over here. Northwest Portland. Wait a second, is this for real? Look at this! Oh my God! You got the power. We could veritably take this section of Portland and turn it into a tiny house village. Look at this! Who owns this property? This is Forest Park, Dogwood Trailhead. Look at all this land, folks. Oh my gosh. Okay, what I would do, we would bring in, I know the Democrats running these states are lost. I agree. We could bring in a veritable crew of tiny house specialists, and we could do some careful planning to preserve the trees and make like a veritable park out of some of this area and provide these people a place to live that would normally be in the city center, and it's not that far away from the riots that are going on right now. It's a 4-mile ride outside in this area. I mean, this could be we could put a tram in here, and we'd pay for the tram. Everything would be free. We start with a pork barbecue and all the free beer, watered down, although all the free beer you could want. We'll bring in like sun teas and things that are made with filtered water, really cool things, and then offer free marijuana brownies for all the rioters. Isn't that a great idea? And then everyone's like getting high and feeling good. We'll put some good pork out there for people to eat, and we'll even have a non-GMO, soybean burgers as an alternative for you pork eaters. Well, this is just a way of getting people away from the nightmare of the protest. And we could tell them, you can still go back to the protest if you want, but I know gradually people will go to the park and live naturally with nature instead of living in a city. We know that we need to get correction in the brutality in our country. We know that. And that's why I came up with the idea of defunding the police back 12 years ago. Only if they didn't follow a certain standard of excellence, and my sensitivity program will train them to be good cops. All right. Well, living with nature doesn't require big lots. I mean, I could go to a campground right now with a couple trees and a park bench and I'd be living with nature. I'm serious. It's not that difficult to imagine living in a tiny house in a situation in the park. So I have a plan called the CCC. It's the exact same name used by FDR, the Civilian Conservation Corps. And we could bring people the idea of living in a tiny house to fruition. They could actually make $15 an hour in a park with the cleanup program. We could actually have jobs cleaning up the trash cans, picking up waste on the ground, paying $15 an hour. That's no problem. We will offer people a place to stay initially, a tent city option as we build the tiny houses. But this creates the buzz of growth and a chance to actually grow as a nation. This is the way to go. Not prison cells, no. This is not
Alex Jones. It's not stack and pack housing. And no, they don't want to eat their neighbors.
Well, I'm glad Best Buy raised their minimum wage to $15 an hour. It's pretty cool to walk around and go, hey, yeah, that's a really cool laptop. You know, you got like 8 gigabytes of RAM and it's video RAM. So, and, you know, $15 an hour to do that? Hell, how can you lose? Talking about the things you love, computers. All right, we have reached the bizarre, unspoken truth about pen ownership. Honest ads. Okay, we'll play that in tonight's show. So I found a park right near the area. There's so much land available for people to have a tiny house village near Portland, Oregon. Our government needs to get a little bit more creative than bashing heads like Donald Trump is asking his secret police force to do. Okay, another story about something. Okay, we got lots of stuff in the lineup. I've been dealing with story after story after story, but I haven't talked about this final one. And it's just a quickie, really. A Russian report coming out, a long-awaited report on Russian interference in the UK's democracy is finally out. So we'll play some of that tonight in our show. Apparently UK had a lot of involvement. The Russians were involved in getting Donald Trump to win. We know that for a fact. And even though Trump says, no, it's all a Russian hoax. This is a really kind of interesting, and now England's looking at what happened in their country. They think the same thing is happening. They believe that Brexit wasn't influenced per se by the Russians, but the elections in Scotland were. Yeah, so a lot of things really kind of point to Russia being not such a good guy out there. Kremlin tried to meddle in the Scottish independence vote, but did not target Brexit. All right. I did not hear Ukraine is charging Biden, but I'm glad that they are with criminal charges. Absolutely. If what he did with Burisma was illegal in Ukrainian law, I need to know. Biden, it looks to me like he's a game player just like Trump, out to pat his own pocket. We also know that Biden and Trump are both pretty perverted. We know also that they've got dementia, both of them. So what is our country doing? We're in the worst condition we've ever been in. We don't have a leader with a dynamic personality like I have. We've got 2 old men who are known to be perverted around women and children. I just don't understand why we've been led to this empty space, this stopgap, where a third party clearly is the way to unite the country. And the way we're going to unite the country is we have to unite under the Bill of Rights. There's no other way around it. So getting our First Amendment back on track, getting our Second Amendment back on track. There are a lot of Democrats that just don't want to go to the deep end on the left, and they're welcome to come into my centrist party. I'm a former Democrat. I also believe that the Republicans have been right all along about our right to bear arms. I talked about the mobile medical units in the beginning of the show, so you'll have to go back to the recorded broadcast. I talked about the mobile medical units then. We have a low-cost mobile medical unit solution for America. Absolutely. There's no reason why we can't solve these problems together. Now, there's a reason why our country is corrupted now by foreign influence. And the reason is very simple. I'm going to put a meme on the screen for you to look at. When Brett Kavanaugh became the talk of the town, there was a reason why they pushed him forward, because in 2011, Brett Kavanaugh ruled that foreign governments could fund American super PACs. That's why the Democrats won't call out Donald Trump any more than the Republicans want to call out Joe Biden. We know that William Barr just backed off of prosecuting Joe Biden on the Ukrainian thing, meaning it's basically a two-party conspiracy. They like to both get money from foreign governments, so don't mess with a good thing. That's why Kavanaugh got approved, even though somebody paid off his debt, $200,000 debt 1 year prior, and no one asked any question as to why. So these things are the real reason. This is the inner secret of our government. These people are working for money, not for the American people. And they'll take money from Vladimir Putin, from Ukrainian leaders, from the Queen of England. They don't care where their money's coming from AIPAC. They love AIPAC money. So the big problem in our country is this nesting corruption that's turned into a useless and lame duck government. We'll get rid of that problem once the third party takes shape in America. Now, I will lead the third party as your president as we grow. Many of you will want to run as third party candidates. We need people to get involved in politics, honest people. We don't have any of them right now. Most of them are just on the take right now. So we're kind of screwed up. We need to get out of this situation we're in, and the only way I think is the third party. I don't think Welcome Back Kotter is a good closer, but thank you. No, we're not banning him. He's getting ready to make a donation with legal funds. Yeah, I haven't had a donation in months. Hardly. It's been a couple months since Uncle Lester gave us $40. I think last quarter we got 2 donations. Thank you very much. All right, so we're going to talk to you, give you some weird stuff tonight on the way out of here. And then we're off to the races. Movies till 1, or maybe later, depending on how much we have to watch. Okay, thanks for coming in, everyone. Good night. Enjoy. Have a great experience. Whatever your experience is. Yeah. If you have an experience at all, because you're all COVID spacing. You're all spaced out in a COVID way. All right. This is the outro song. Mr. Wright will be back again tomorrow for another big Wednesday, Wasteful Wednesday, talking about waste reduction in our budget, a plan I have, a pay-as-you-go plan, and an economic brake pad. I'll talk about that tomorrow on the show, starting at 5 p.m. Pacific time. We're on till 1 a.m. tonight. Sleep well. Good night.
my feet, my heart stops to beat. Cause you make me melt away. You're my Mr. Right, my Mr. Right, too good.